Chapter 1439. Obviously, the three eyes were also stunned for a moment. This was because he couldn't imagine how Li Zongjio could be so fast. In the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of him. Li Zongjio stretched out his hand and grabbed the man's neck. He tightened his grip. The man's eyes widened immediately. He had difficulty breathing. But his eyes were getting bigger and bigger. His eyeballs were completely bloodshot. After that, Li Zongjio directly used 2 fingers to gouge out the latter's eyeballs. Li Zongjio's movements weren't fast, and his strength was so strong that the man couldn't resist. Without any hesitation, he dug out the man's eyeballs. The eyeballs were still bloodshot, and all the strange things were connected to them. Coincidentally, the man from the devouring Yuan clan opened his mouth, and Li Zongjio shoved his eyeballs into the man's mouth. Gulp. He swallowed the man's eyeballs in one bite. At the same time, Li Zongjio dug out the man's third eye. When the third eye was dug out, the man from the devouring Yuan clan died instantly. He died just like that. How boring! Li Zongjio couldn't help but stare blankly. It seemed that directly digging out the third eye was too easy for them. If they died like this, how could Li Zongjio torture them? Seeing Li Zongjio kill one of them so easily, the remaining 4 people were shocked. What's going on? Our devouring Yuan clan doesn't work on him? Impossible. As long as it's origin energy, we can capture it. He must be using some elixir. That's why he can resist. Use weapons. One of them said directly. It was impossible to say that Li Zongjio's origin energy wasn't affected at all. The devouring Yuan clan wasn't called devouring Yuan clan for nothing. It was able to easily remove their elemental energy. However, Li Zongjio's strength didn't seem to have weakened at all. Instead, he was still bursting with powerful combat strength, just like the woman from before. Immediately, the remaining 4 people also took out their weapons. The weapons in their hands were known as light energy weapons. The glowing longsword and the glowing broadsword were all glowing in his hands. Because these people had special abilities, they could directly devour elemental energy. But at the same time, they couldn't cultivate elemental energy themselves, but they could cultivate martial arts. After mastering powerful martial arts, it would be easier to kill the enemy. The only thing they were afraid of was some cultivators who were extremely powerful just by relying on the strength of their physical bodies. However, such people were few and far between. Moreover, the threat it posed was rather limited. As long as he could kill them, there would be no problem. The effulgence weapon in his hand was enough to destroy the physical body of any origin emperor. They brandished their effulgence weapons and slashed towards Li Zongjio. Boom! Li Zongjio, on the other hand, stood motionless. Li Zongjio was struck by his opponent's strength. There was no threat to him at all. Even Li Zongjio's physical defense couldn't be broken. One had to know that Li Zongjio's body had been tempered by the power of chaos. In addition to the ancient golden body art of the Dragon Clan. That was how the body of evil was created today. Li Zongjio himself also had a mysterious bloodline power in his body. Now that it was completely released, it also made Li Zongjio's strength extremely powerful. That's it. Li Zongjio slapped the 4 people in front of him and sent them flying. Immediately, the 4 people felt a buzzing sound. One of them received a bigger slap. He actually flung one of his eyeballs out of his head. Bang! Immediately his eyeball flew out and he was in great pain. The rest of them also seized the opportunity and kept hitting Li Zongjio with their effulgence weapons. However, Li Zongjio was unharmed. Bang! Li Zongjio directly grabbed the 2 people's heads and slammed them together. Immediately, the 2 people's heads were smashed into pieces at the same time. The pain was so clear that they could feel it. Li Zongjio directly tore apart the limbs of these people. Flesh and blood splattered in the sky. At the same time, it was the most direct attack that seriously injured the people from the devouring Yuan clan. Although Li Zongjio already knew that these people were from the devouring Yuan clan, he didn't care. He didn't care which clan they were from. As long as they offended Li Zongjio, they would die. No, sometimes there was another outcome. That was a fate worse than death. What? He's even more terrifying than us. Looking at their companions' organs being blown away one by one, Li Zongjio's fist was even more powerful than their most powerful effulgence weapons. They couldn't withstand Li Zongjio's attack at all. Seeing this, the remaining person was no match for Li Zongjio at all. He immediately abandoned his companion in a hurry and rushed into the distance. Boom! Although they couldn't cultivate origin energy, the Devouring Yuan clan possessed Devouring Yuan force. In fact, it was a special origin energy attribute. Although it wasn't very strong, it wasn't too difficult for them to fly. With such a heaven-defying ability, he could easily kill anyone else in an instant. It could be said that they were the fated enemies of all origin energy cultivators. However, they didn't expect to meet Li Zongjio, a freak who cultivated his physical body. Trying to run? Li Zongjio waved his hand and threw the 3 people from the Devouring Yuan clan who were still alive into the Bell of Chaos. Now that Li Zongjio was also affected, the origin energy in his body was also extremely empty. Although he couldn't summon the power of hell, the Bell of Chaos controlled the chaotic energy, so it could be easily mobilized. It was a good opportunity to throw the Devouring Yuan clan and the Dragon clan together and see what kind of sparks they could create. Li Zongjio's speed wasn't something that the 3-eyed creature from the Devouring Yuan clan could contend with just by relying on his physical strength alone. However, Li Zongjio didn't chase after them directly. Instead, he followed them from afar. The latter entered the mountains and very wisely hid in a dark ravine. Li Zongjio's eyes were cold. He let one of them go. He wanted to catch all of them in one fell swoop. Even so, it was difficult to eliminate the hatred in Li Zongjio's heart. Fortunately, Qi Yanran's life was saved by the presence of the Blue Bird platform. Otherwise, Li Zongjio would once again fall into endless pain and darkness if Qi Yanran's body was injured beyond repair. At that time, Li Zongjio would be in deep regret. Since the Devouring Yuan clan dared to attack Qi Yanran, they couldn't blame Li Zongjio for it. The only one who escaped was from the Devouring Yuan clan. He circled around a small mountain and looked back at the sky. Li Zongjio didn't come as he expected. He couldn't help but heave a sigh of relief. How can there be such a terrifying person? It seems that only the Guangwu guards can get rid of him. The so-called Guangwu guards. In fact, they were selected from the Devouring Yuan clan and subdued some powerful Devouring Yuan beasts in the Devouring Yuan realm. They were the guards who combined the two to fight. However, all of the Guangwu guards were fighting on Dragon Island. Therefore, they had to wait for the Guangwu guards to come back first. However, they had received quite a shock just now. Their eyeballs had been directly blasted out. For the people of the Devouring Yuan clan, this was a very painful and heart-wrenching thing. Just thinking about it was enough to make them feel extreme pain. The 3rd eye on the forehead was equivalent to the heart of the Devouring Yuan clan. Even if the body was smashed, as long as the eye was still there, they wouldn't die. At least, there was hope to save them. Based on their appearance alone, the Devouring Yuan race looked almost the same as the human race even if their 3rd eye was covered. In fact, they didn't look any different from the human race. Therefore, it was easy for the Devouring Yuan clan to hide among the human clan. Although they looked very similar to each other, they were very different in many aspects. The Devouring Yuan clan was a big clan and was one of the 9 clans like the human clan. Now, the fallen race had been completely destroyed. Therefore, there were only 8 clans left. Finally, the Devouring Yuan clan came to a valley after making a big detour. Obviously, this was the lair of the Devouring Yuan clan. Chapter 1440. The living habits of the Devouring Yuan clan were very different from that of the human clan. The Devouring Yuan clan liked to use the sky as their blanket and the ground as their bed. They would dig a hole in the cave and bury half of their bodies in it. At the same time, they could absorb the energy of the earth. They could absorb the energy of the earth to strengthen the cultivation of their 3rd eye. The cultivation of the 3rd eye was what the Devouring Yuan clan wanted to do all their lives. Only after the cultivation of the 3rd eye could they produce heaven light. Only then could they become a real Guangwu guard. Obviously, the 5 people were not at that level. The heavenly light that the 3rd eye could release was, in fact, a terrifying attack. It was extremely powerful. I'm back. Something bad has happened. Hurry up and inform the elders. There's a terrifying existence in the human clan. His physical quality is extremely strong. The first thing he did when he returned was to sound the alarm. Everyone come over. Let's gather our strength and send this message out. Under the call of the Devouring Yuan clan member. More than 500 Devouring Yuan clan members in the Devouring Yuan clan's lair gathered together. Then, they listened carefully to the people who had just escaped and described how terrifying Li Zhongjio's strength was. When they heard the last part of the story, their faces were filled with shock. They looked at each other, their three eyes darting back and forth. Is there really such a powerful person? More than 500 people were chatting and discussing. There seemed to be a strange fluctuation in their voices. It was not obvious when there were only one or two of them. However, when there were many of them, there was a sound wave that was similar to that of bats vibrating in the air. When Li Zhongjio saw that most of the people had gathered, he decided to show himself. Boy, you did well. Li Zhongjio came to the side of the Devouring Yuan clan member who had just escaped. He first patted him on the shoulder, and then, under his shocked gaze, he chopped his head off with the 7 stars moon-slashing sword. However, he did not blind his eyes. Instead, he placed his head on a stone platform. It could be seen that his eyes were still blinking non-stop. Just stay here and watch how I kill them all. Li Zhongjio laughed, but the evil and horror contained in this smile was something that Li Zhongjio had never seen in his life. He had never been afraid before. Even dealing with Qi Yanran this time was very easy for them. Qi Yanran was already the strongest person in the Holy Martial Continent besides Li Zhongjio. He wouldn't necessarily lose even if he challenged the Lightning Dragon Patriarch one-on-one. However, he was still defeated by the Devouring Yuan clan. This showed how powerful these people were. However, no matter how powerful he was, his fate was obvious when he met Li Zhongjio. Before the members of the Devouring Yuan clan could react, Li Zhongjio raised his weapon and jumped into the crowd. In ancient times, the 7-star moon-slashing sword was the personal weapon of a saint. It was said that if the weapon could be used to its peak, it could easily summon the power of the 7 stars. It was enough to have the power to destroy the world. Li Zhongjio was holding the 7-star moon-slashing sword. The members of the Devouring Yuan clan in front of him were like lambs waiting to be slaughtered. Li Zhongjio easily cut off their limbs. Although it was impossible to use Yuan Qi in this place, Li Zhongjio's body of the evil god was quite strong. It was easy to kill the people in front of him. However, Li Zhongjio didn't just want to kill them. He wanted to bring them endless pain. Therefore, after cutting off their limbs, Li Zhongjio didn't directly end their lives. The effulgence weapon in the hands of the Devouring Yuan clan. It couldn't cause any injury to Zhao Kaishan at all. Therefore, Li Zhongjio could be said to have killed his way out. More than 500 people. They were cut down by Li Zhongjio. Some of them wanted to escape, but Li Zhongjio directly destroyed the rock cave in an instant. Boom! The rocks on the rock cave fell down and blocked all the exits. No one could get out. This might be an extremely gloomy day for the Devouring Yuan clan. It was filled with blood-red darkness. In fact, the Devouring Yuan clan also lived in the Saint Martial Continent. However, they were very few in number. They were the descendants of the previous batch of people who went to war. Now, the Devouring Yuan clan needed to find their own continent. Recently, the Devouring Yuan clan had been planning something with the Dragon clan. They thought that they would be able to return to the Devouring Yuan realm soon. However, they didn't expect that a terrifying god of death like Li Zhongjio would appear halfway. Now, the people in front of them all looked like they were in the depths of hell. Li Zhongjio walked in a pile of flesh and blood. Some of them were unable to endure the pain during the process and were directly hacked to death. However, the majority of them were still alive. They still had a breath of life left in them. Furthermore, their third eyes were still able to see everything clearly. Oh, there are 2 intact ones? Li Zhongjio found 2 intact members of the Devouring Yuan clan in a pile of flesh and blood. The 2 of them seemed to have gone into hiding long ago. Now that Li Zhongjio had found them, they immediately hugged each other like birds startled by the twang of a bow. They roared in pain. No, don't kill us. We'll do whatever you want. We don't want to be cut off. The two young members of the devouring Yuan clan, a man and a woman, hugged each other tightly. They hugged each other tightly, not daring to look at Li Zongjio again. "Okay, I'm in a good mood today." Li Zongjio grinned, which made people's hearts palpitate inexplicably. However, it was an extremely rare opportunity for them to live. Therefore, they stared at Li Zongjio with their eyes wide open. They seemed to be asking what they could do for him to let them go. "Whoever cuts off the other's hand, I'll let him go." Li Zongjio stuck the 7 stars moon slashing sword in his hand into the ground. At the same time, he took a step back to give the two of them enough space. Killing each other? Under normal circumstances, this kind of thing would never happen. However, it had happened here. After experiencing Li Zongjio's crazy and bloody killing scene, they felt that it was too late. Their psychological defenses had been completely broken through. Therefore, under such circumstances, they could do anything. The two of them were obviously shocked. They didn't expect Li Zongjio to make such a request. They wanted to strangle Li Zongjio to death. "We know we were wrong. Please let us go. Sir, we know we were wrong." As the young man spoke, he knelt down and approached the 7 stars moon slashing sword. Then, when the woman wasn't paying attention, he pulled out the sword and slashed it behind him. The young woman from the devouring Yuan clan was directly cut in half. Naturally, his third eye was also split open. Li Zongjio didn't expect this kid to be so decisive and ruthless. "You're good. I won't kill you." Li Zongjio didn't kill him. However, Li Zongjio didn't leave. At this moment, the head that Li Zongjio had chopped off at the beginning had completely stopped breathing. In the nameless valley, the painful wails of the people from the devouring Yuan clan could be heard. It was like a hell of the devouring Yuan clan, constantly summoning the remaining members of the devouring Yuan clan. Li Zongjio took the soul of the last surviving member of the devouring Yuan clan. Li Zongjio found the specific situation of this group of people from the devouring Yuan clan in his memory. It turned out that this was only a small group of people. They had basically lost the original ability of the devouring Yuan clan. Originally, the people from the devouring Yuan clan could basically open their sky eyes in the devouring Yuan realm. They had the power of the sky eyes. However, this group of people hadn't returned to the devouring Yuan realm for many generations. Therefore, they had lost this ability. Now, some of the people from the devouring Yuan clan who had opened their sky eyes had gone to Dragon Island and formed an alliance with a guy called Evil Dragon God. Now, they were helping Evil Dragon God to take over Dragon Island. Chapter 1441. To put it simply, the Evil Dragon God had rebelled. Li Zongjio didn't know what kind of agreement they had reached. However, Li Zongjio wasn't going to let the devouring Yuan clan continue to be arrogant. Although Li Zongjio didn't have any enmity with the devouring Yuan clan, they had injured Qi Yanran. The enmity had been officially formed. Annihilate the devouring Yuan clan. After that, Li Zongjio soared into the sky and charged towards the Dragon Island. An enormous amount of mental energy spread out in the sky. It was like a surging wave that swept across the sky. Soon, in the southwest corner of the sky, Li Zongjio locked onto a secret area. Found it. The Dragon Island was always moving and floating all year round. As for exactly where it would appear in the next moment, it was also an uncertain situation. However, with Li Zongjio's cultivation in the Absolute Saint realm, it wasn't too difficult for him to find the direction. When Li Zongjio charged towards Dragon Island, Cheng Hui, the sect master of Ten Sword Sect, had already arrived at Stellar City. Tiangang City was also a city within the Sky Water sect. Now that there were 3 top experts from Sparrow Divine Palace guarding the city, they would be able to fend off the Dragon Tribe's invasion. Therefore, these people became bolder. After all, they didn't have a good place to go. Therefore, they were arranged to stay in front of Stellar City. The 3 elders of Sparrow Divine Palace were very arrogant. After all, they were above the imperial family and didn't take them seriously at all. However, after knowing that Li Tianqing was Li Zongjio's father, they became very polite to him. He immediately became polite to Li Tianqing. He even asked about his well-being as if they were old friends who had known each other for many years. Compared to the people in front of them, the three elders of Sparrow Divine Palace clearly knew how powerful Li Zongjio was. He wasn't as simple as they thought. If it was said that Li Zongjio already possessed heaven-defying strength, it would not be strange at all. Therefore, while the three elders were rude to others, they were extremely respectful to Li Tianqing. Furthermore, the palatial lords of his family were all his daughters-in-law. How high was Li Tianqing's status? Li Tianqing himself felt flattered. Although he didn't know exactly how powerful his son was, Li Tianqing at least had an idea of the strength of the three elders in front of him. They were the top experts of the continent, experts who came out of the untainted land. How could such strength be underestimated? Of course, Li Tianqing wasn't someone who didn't know what was good for him. If the other party gave him some face, he could just accept it. He couldn't just take it. Otherwise, no one could predict what would happen if he flew into a rage out of humiliation. Although Li Tianqing had the right to intervene in dealing with the aftermath, he wouldn't actually do such things. After all, he didn't come into contact with many things. Moreover, a casual decision of these people would determine the lives of tens of millions of people. Li Tianqing only played a role in this. He didn't participate in the discussion process. Just as everyone was discussing in Tiangang City, suddenly, an uninvited guest came. The people of Tianshui sect were quite clear about the identity of this person. It was the sect master of Ten Swords sect, Cheng Hui. Wasn't the person in front of them the sect master of Ten Swords sect? During the crusade against Ten Swords sect, this guy hid very well. He directly hid most of the elites of Ten Swords sect. Later, they were finally found by the people of Tianshui sect and the Xingyan dynasty. After being beaten up, Cheng Hui's attitude of apologizing was very sincere, and he almost knelt down directly. When everyone saw Cheng Hui's sincere attitude, they thought that Cheng Hui already knew that he was wrong and couldn't continue to kill him. They didn't expect Cheng Hui to come again at this moment. Moreover, when he appeared here, everyone could clearly feel how powerful Cheng Hui's strength was. In just a few years, Cheng Hui had broken through to the realm of 7th grade sovereign. It was very shocking. Cheng Hui, what are you doing here? When Gong Yu saw Cheng Hui, she immediately frowned and said, the current Ten Swords sect was in the Tianyan dynasty and couldn't even be considered as a second-rate sect. However, Cheng Hui's own strength had improved greatly, which made people vigilant. Unexpectedly, when Cheng Hui saw Gong Yu and the others, he directly knelt down with a plop. I was the one who colluded with the Dragon Clan and leaked the location of your meeting to the Dragon Clan. I was also the one who ordered the massacre of the city. I was also the one who wrote that threatening letter. All of this was orchestrated by the Dragon Clan. I was just an executor. The evil dominator ordered me to surrender myself. Whatever you want to know, you can ask me directly. Cheng Hui knelt on the ground, as if he was memorizing a script, and told the whole story. Evil Lord's order? If what Cheng Hui had done was really as he had said, then he was simply an unpardonable and heinous sinner of the human race. It was no wonder that Cheng Hui's strength improved so quickly. It was because of the treasures exchanged from the Dragon Tribe, which directly allowed Cheng Hui's strength to improve rapidly. Cheng Hui, how dare you? When Gong Yu heard this, she was furious. She immediately caught Cheng Hui in front of the crowd and thoroughly interrogated him. Cheng Hui immediately told the story of how he got involved with the Dragon Tribe. In the end, all of this was known to everyone. In fact, the Dragon Tribe didn't do anything at all. It was Cheng Hui from the Ten Swords sect who played tricks behind the scenes. Moreover, the Ten Swords sect had accumulated many treasures from the Dragon Tribe. They ordered Cheng Hui to hand over all of them. In addition to the 7 Stars Moon Slashing Sword, which was taken away by Li Zongjio, Cheng Hui also obtained 3 treasures. One of them was the Fire Flag. It was extremely powerful. With the power of the Fire Flag, it directly slaughtered the people of a city. When these matters were discussed, the expressions on everyone's faces had already changed. They did not expect that a mere Cheng Hui would actually be able to do such a heartless thing. He had even nearly wiped out the leaders of the 3 dynasties. If Li Zongjio and Qi Yanren hadn't arrived in time, Cheng Hui would have succeeded. It was hard to say what would happen in the future. Cheng Hui's plan was so close to being a success. At that time, Cheng Hui's Ten Swords sect would become the top sect of the continent, and they would be wiped out completely. The rest of the history would be made up by Cheng Hui. What a vicious heart. I didn't expect you to be so daring. Gong Yu said coldly. Everyone, how should we punish this person? Gong Yu looked at the rest of the people. Cheng Hui was definitely going to die. After doing such a thing, how could they let him continue living? So what if he was in the Supreme Being realm? Thus, everyone began to spread the word that they would use different methods to execute Cheng Hui. After all, what Cheng Hui had done was intolerable and intolerable. What do you think, Hai Duke Li? Emperor Xingyan looked at Li Tianqing. Although Li Tianqing wasn't involved in politics, it wasn't difficult for him to express his opinion on this kind of thing. Did they really want him to sit on the bench and watch for the whole day? Since this little thief betrayed the human race and gained the trust of the Dragon Clan, we might as well let this little thief mix in with the Dragon Clan and collect information for us. Only by knowing yourself and your enemy can you win every battle. Li Tianqing said. These words were a reminder to everyone. In fact, it wasn't that no one had thought of this way of dealing with things, but after saying it out loud, no one would necessarily listen to you. However, the weight of Li Tianqing's words was different. They must listen to Li Tianqing's opinion. With that said, everyone listened to him. In addition, this idea was indeed good. However, who could guarantee Cheng Hui's loyalty? Cheng Hui, I order you to go undercover in Dragon Island and collect information about the Dragon Clan. Are you willing to do so? Li Tianqing asked. Cheng Hui is under the control of the will of Evil Lord. He will listen to any orders. Everyone was shocked when they heard that. After all, Cheng Hui was a Supreme Being realm expert. Now, no one knew where Li Zongjio was, but his influence was so far-reaching. It was really terrifying. Chapter 1442. East of Dragon Island. The land of Dragon Island stretched for millions of miles. It was floating in the sky. Every day, it would drift for hundreds of thousands of miles. After all, the sea area was vast and no one had ever reached the end of it. The deeper one went into the sea, the more one would be ravaged by the endless waves and the sea wind. Even if one had the golden body of the Dragon Clan, one would only end up being torn into dragon jerky if he got close. Hence, no one had ever tried to uncover the secrets in the deep sea. East of Dragon Island. A few giant dragons descended from the sky. One of them fell directly to the ground, drawing a long gully in the ground, dragging out a mark that was 1,000 meters long. The one that fell to the ground was a purple giant dragon. There were many wounds on its body. It was being chased by 3 golden giant dragons and 1 white giant dragon. There was a figure standing on each of the dragons' backs. Long Ji, why are you still resisting? Join Lord Evil Dragon God's team. With your cultivation, you will be at least a deputy commander. Your position is higher than mine. Why not? One of the golden giant dragons spoke in human language. It had become a habit for many years. Even in terms of language, they were considered to be the same. They wanted to persuade Long Ji to surrender. Long Ji did not waste her energy to maintain her giant dragon form. She immediately transformed back into her human form. The rest of the giant dragons also transformed when they saw this. Anyway, Long Ji had nowhere to run. If he could persuade Long Ji to surrender, then the evil dragon god would have another fierce general under his command. It would definitely be a great merit. Since when did the giant dragon clan get trampled under the feet of the devouring Yuan clan? Long Ji said flatly. She was referring to the giant dragon clan. She had just become the mount of the devouring Yuan clan. This was absolutely impossible for the noble giant dragon clan. Even if it happened, it would not happen so easily. Under the control of the devouring Yuan clan, even someone as strong as Long Ji could not use her Yuan power. Hence, she could only fight with her own body. However, she was up against 5 golden dragon warriors. Long Ji had already cultivated the ancient golden body of the Bagu a long time ago. Coupled with the mental control of the white dragon race, Long Ji could be said to be powerless against the combined forces of the 6 of them. She was defeated just like that. Even if they wanted to escape from the Dragon Island, they had already lost their chance. Long Zhi had never thought that things would be so serious. He had never thought that the other party would have joined forces with the devouring Origin clan. This greatly reduced the resistance and combat strength of the dragons. In a situation where he was unable to use his Yuan power, his body had become rather dangerous. We're merely in a cooperative relationship. If the lords of the dragon tribe wish to step on my head, you can do so as well. A man from the devouring Yuan clan stepped forward and said nonchalantly, "That's right." He had helped the golden dragon and the others out of their predicament. In that case, both sides were in an equal partnership. Even if they were allowed to ride for a while, they wouldn't have any complaints. You have a glib tongue. You must be one of the top figures in the devouring Yuan clan. Long Zhi looked at the member of the devouring Yuan clan and said. The man from the devouring Yuan clan lowered his head and smiled. He took a step forward. I'm not considered a figure, but I do have a name. Miss Long Zhi, you can call me Tunchi. Tunchi said. Tunchi? This name really makes me uncomfortable. Of course, it's not as pleasant as Miss Long Zhi's name. Tunchi didn't feel awkward at all. Instead, he praised Long Zhi. Jin Shan, don't you want me to surrender? Sure. Twist off this Tunchi's head and stomp it into a pulp. Then, I'll surrender and join your evil dragon god's camp. How about that? Long Zhi said. When the other party heard that Long Zhi had agreed, he was surprised. However, Bai Long reacted quickly. Long Zhi, don't try to sow discord here. You and I have learned the 36 stratagems of the human tribe. You'd better surrender now. Otherwise, we'll have to fight again and hurt our friendship. Bai Long said. Bai Shisan, how dare you say that you cultivate mental strength with your low IQ? After the devouring Yuan clan has killed all the people in the Draconic Penitentiary, they'll find a way to kill the Golden Dragon tribe and the White Dragon tribe. Long Zhi said coldly. It was just a casual remark. Of course, Long Zhi didn't expect Jin Shan and the others to kill the devouring Yuan clan. Moreover, once they started fighting, it was still unknown whether they could win. Since Miss Long Zhi is so stubborn, we have no choice but to offend her. Brothers from the dragon tribe, let's take her down first. Tunchi said coldly. With the devouring Yuan clan's strength, it was impossible for them to defeat Long Zhi alone. Long Zhi were sorry. Jin Shan and the other 4 experts from the Golden Dragon tribe took a step forward and threw a punch at Long Zhi. Long Zhi raised her hand to block it. The strength of the energy formed by the 5 of them was enough to shatter the surrounding space. Boom! Long Zhi's figure was instantly sent flying hundreds of meters away. Fortunately, Long Zhi was a mixed blood. Her body's defense was above that of an ordinary dragon. Otherwise, she wouldn't have become an expert in the Draconic Penitentiary so easily. Damn it! Before they could get up, the 5 experts from the Golden Dragon tribe had rearranged their formation and were flying toward Long Zhi. Boom! Their escape routes had been completely sealed off. The devouring Yuan clan was also in hot pursuit. She continued to control the surrounding Yuan power with her own strength. We don't want to hurt you. You forced us to do this. Jin Shan let out a low roar. This roar was like a thunderclap exploding on the ground. Boom! Jin Shan threw out a punch. The powerful essence energy was like a landslide and the earth was split open. Long Zhi's body was severely injured. Bang! Long Zhi's body fell to the ground. A few of her bones were broken. Cough, cough. She spat out a mouthful of blood. The experts from the devouring Yuan clan could not only control the enemy's Yuan power, but they could also give the people on their side the right to use their Yuan power. However, under the mental strength of the White Dragon tribe, he could also easily recover the energy he had expended. You have no chance of winning. Jin Shan said flatly. Everyone gathered behind Jin Shan. They had wanted to keep Long Zhi here, but it seemed like it would be difficult to do so now. They were powerful and loyal to the dragon ancestor. Let me tell you the truth. The evil dragon god has found where the dragon ancestor is and obtained the dragon ancestor's power. Do you think the rest of you have a chance? Jin Shan shook his head and sighed. A wise man submits to circumstances. Although the people from the devouring Yuan clan must be up to something, their schemes were weak in the face of absolute power. Therefore, after the evil dragon god unified the Dragon Island, the people of the devouring Yuan clan would definitely become ghosts under his claws. Of course, he couldn't tell them about this yet. If he did, it would ruin the cooperation between the two clans. It would be troublesome in the future. However, Jin Shan and the others had obviously underestimated the people from the devouring Yuan clan. After all, the dragon tribe might not be that intelligent. Swoosh. Just as Long Ji was about to die, she heard a whooshing sound. It sounded like something was coming from above. The sun on Dragon Island was glaring. However, when Long Ji raised her head slightly, she could vaguely see a figure with robes flapping under the sun. The sword in his hand looked familiar. Isn't that the 7-star moon slashing sword? The Sparrow Dragon tribe leader had no collection. It took me a while to find them, Li Zongjio said flatly. The Dragon Island was even wider than the Saint Martial continent. It wasn't easy for them to catch up and find the devouring Yuan clan's traces. Since he had sensed the fluctuation of Yuan power, he decided to take a look first. As expected, Li Zongjio soon found 6 people from the devouring Yuan clan. It's him! Long Ji was shocked when she heard Li Zongjio's voice. Chapter 1443. Li Zongjio landed in the middle of the 2 groups of people. He turned around and glanced at Long Ji. The latter was obviously severely injured. However, Li Zongjio did not say much as he stared at Tun Chi and the rest. You people from the giant dragon tribe can get lost now. This has nothing to do with you, Li Zongjio said calmly. He was not afraid of the giant dragon tribe, but he did not want to get entangled with the people in front of him. He was not in the mood to deal with this and that. If they were obedient, he would let them go. However, if they were not obedient, Li Zongjio would have no choice but to deal with them. How arrogant! When Jin Shan heard Li Zongjio's arrogance, he was immediately displeased. Li Zongjio didn't even put the giant dragon race in his eyes. How could he directly ask them to scram? How could they tolerate this? You're not from the giant dragon tribe but a human? However, Bai Shirsan from the white dragon tribe discovered the crux of the matter. Li Zongjio was actually a human. Where did he come from? How could a human come to their dragon island? The height of the dragon island alone was not something an ordinary human could withstand. Moreover, the dragon island did not have a specific location. How did Li Zongjio find his way here? Everyone was shocked. Since ancient times, there had never been a human who could reach the dragon island directly. However, judging by Li Zongjio's attitude, he seemed to have found this place specifically to cause trouble for the devouring Yuan tribe. Human brat, the Dragon Island is not a place you can come and go as you please. How dare you speak such arrogant words? If I don't teach you a lesson today, you will lose all respect for the Dragon Island. Jin Shan could not care less. No matter what Li Zongjio was here for, he must destroy him today. Only then could he protect the dignity of the giant dragon tribe. Tun Chi looked at Li Zongjio. They did not know Li Zongjio. Why would he appear here? And after he appeared, was he here to cause trouble for the devouring Origin clan? Did he have a grudge against them? Wait a minute. For you, our devouring Yuan clan has never attacked the human tribe. For you. Tun Chi immediately stared at Li Zongjio. Suddenly, a beam of light shot out from the third eye and landed on Li Zongjio. The light wasn't dazzling, but Li Zongjio could see countless devouring Yuan clan members wailing in agony. Countless suffering souls seemed to be following Li Zongjio. No, not with Li Zongjio. It was Li Zongjio who had bound these souls to him. Torture was being carried out. He was suffering endless pain, never to be reincarnated. In the end, such a situation occurred. With just a glance, Tun Chi felt as though he had walked through hell. Immediately he was drenched in sweat. There was deep fear in his eyes as he stared at Li Zongjio. How dare you kill the devouring Yuan clan members? Tun Chi stared at Li Zongjio. The anger and fear in his eyes almost drove Tun Chi crazy. The other 4 members of the devouring Yuan clan also released their light martial weapons. Kill this man! The devouring Yuan clan members shouted in unison. Jin Shan glanced at Bai San from the White Dragon clan. After all, the White Dragon clan was smarter. Therefore, they would consider Bai San's suggestion before making any decision. Bai San immediately understood that Li Zongjio was here to seek revenge. That was why he had killed so many people from the Devouring Yuan clan. He probably wanted to kill the rest of the Devouring Yuan clan members as well. That was why he had chased them all the way to Dragon Island. Bai San nodded at Jin Shan and the others. He meant that they could act now. Since they were all enemies, it was not a problem to kill one more. Moreover, they were still allies with the Devouring Yuan clan. They could not give up just like that. Now that Dragon Island had yet to be conquered, they still needed the help of the Devouring Yuan clan. Come on. Show me what you've got after chasing us all the way here. Jin Shan also let out a roar. The other 4 Golden Dragon clan members also attacked. They dashed towards Li Zongjio. Swoosh. The few of them moved together. They did not want to be careless. They wanted to finish off their opponents quickly. Come on. Li Zongjio also wanted to compete with these dragons. It seemed that these existences had nothing much to say. Sooner or later, such conflicts would arise. Li Zongjio might as well deal with them directly now. He had thought that in this life, Li Zongjio would not have to look for the dragon souls of the 4 supreme beings of the Dragon Clan. More or less, he would not have to deal with Dragon Island. However, it seemed like a battle was unavoidable. Li Zongjio then clashed with the other party. Boom! A man and a sword clashed with the other party. There were 5 of them on the other side. Li Zongjio took a step back after the collision. As for the 5 dragon tribes, all of them took 3 steps back instantly. They retreated in unison. This kind of mighty and domineering power also shocked the 5 great Golden Dragon tribe members. The eyes of the White Dragon clan members lit up. They were obviously shocked. Long Ji saw this scene too. Her eyes were filled with surprise. Damn, that's too awesome. Long Ji's eyes were also filled with excitement. She did not expect Li Zongjio to bring her such a big surprise. I knew that this guy was not simple. Long Ji seemed to see hope in her eyes. Although she did not know why Li Zongjio would suddenly appear to help her, Long Ji knew that as long as Li Zongjio was here, she would definitely have a chance to convince Li Zongjio. At least now, she had a common enemy with Li Zongjio. That was the Devouring Yuan clan. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. She could not let it go. Is this guy really from the human clan? Jin Shan and the others looked at each other. Looking at Li Zongjio in front of them, they recalled the collision just now. The other party was like a piece of pure iron that could not be shaken at all. They could only be forced to retreat. And she wasn't alone here. Instead, all 5 of them were easily forced to retreat. The few of them were quite shocked. Li Zongjio casually swung his arm. That's all you have? Li Zongjio could not help but frown. He thought that the Golden Dragon clan was more powerful than he had imagined. However, when they collided for the first time, he realized that the Golden Dragon clan in front of him did not seem to be able to exert any strength at all. They could not resist his power at all. That was why they mocked him. Damn it. Activate my Yuan power. I'm going to give this guy a good beating. Tun Chi nodded. Tun Chi wanted to get rid of Li Zongjio as soon as possible. Li Zongjio had killed so many people from the Devouring Yuan clan. Firstly, it was a heinous crime. Secondly, the fact that he could do so showed that his strength was extremely terrifying. At least his physical quality was extremely strong. Otherwise, a cultivator who specialized in cultivating Yuan power would instantly be reduced to a lamb waiting to be slaughtered when he met the Devouring Yuan clan. Now that they saw Li Zongjio forcing the 5 golden dragons to retreat, they could not help but be frightened. They might even be in danger. If the Golden Dragon clan could not deal with Li Zongjio, they would be the ones who would be stabbed in the end. The people from the Devouring Yuan clan were not stupid. Although they had been blinded by their anger, they still had their intellect. At this moment, they could clearly think of a way to deal with Li Zongjio. Buzz. A ray of light energy landed on Jin Shan's body. Jin Shan's power was completely restored. Even the people from the Devouring Yuan clan could not undo the effect of the Devouring Yuan power at will. For example, Tun Chi had to concentrate his power to make Jin Shan regain his Yuan power in this area. The rest of the people had to maintain the devouring Yuan power. Only in this way could the devouring Yuan power be created and ensure that Li Zongjiao and the rest could not use their Yuan power. Abundant Yuan power instantly flowed into Jin Shan's body. Jin Shan immediately roared angrily. His strength was also constantly breaking through. His aura was overwhelming. In the end, he stopped at the level of a 9th-grade sovereign. He had not reached the honorable realm. However, in Jin Shan's opinion, the strength of a 9th-grade sovereign was more than enough to deal with Li Zongjiao. Now, take another punch from me. Jin Shan's original strength, under the condition that he possessed elemental energy, was 10 times stronger than when he possessed elemental energy. He threw out a punch. In an instant, it was as if thousands of giant dragons and divine eagles were flapping their wings at the same time. Such terrifying power surged from the sky and the ground. Chapter 1444. Facing Jin Shan's punch. Li Zongjiao gave him the same respect. He used 50% of his strength. Boom! Jin Shan gave it his all. Under Li Zongjiao's punch, Jin Shan's body was sent flying. Jin Shan's speed was even faster than Jin Shan's. Jin Shan's body was sent flying. After crashing into a mountain 1,000 meters away, he was buried in the ruins and never got up. He was probably crippled. On Li Zongjiao's fist, a trace of chaotic energy gradually disappeared. Chaotic energy. You have mastered the chaotic energy. Tun Chi's eyes suddenly widened. Tun Chi was very sensitive when it came to discovering the attributes of power. In reality, the devouring Yuan clan did not only possess Yuan power. They also possessed some elemental energy which they could easily devour. However, they were unable to refine some of the higher elemental energies because their elemental energy was too strong. Moreover, they were viewed as a nemesis. Basically, one would only end up dead after encountering these people. Therefore, once they encountered someone who had mastered high-level powers, only the more powerful devouring Yuan clan could affect them. Jin Shan did not expect to encounter one of them. Tun Chi could not believe it herself. When the rest of the Golden Dragon clan saw Jin Shan giving it his all, they circulated their Yuan power. They clearly had enough strength to easily smash Li Zongjiao into pieces with one punch. However, in the next second, they were sent flying. Not only did he fail to injure Li Zongjiao, but he was also sent flying. This was simply a terrifying reversal of the situation. It was completely different from what they had imagined. Therefore, the four of them took a small step back. When they looked at Li Zongjiao again, they understood how terrifying the person in front of them was. What's wrong? Are you all scared? At this moment, Long Ji also stood up. She seemed to have swallowed a pill, and her injuries had healed quite a bit. Fortunately, Li Zongjiao was here. Otherwise, Long Ji would not have dared to speak so arrogantly. Li Zongjiao did not care about Long Ji's provocation. As long as he killed the devouring Yuan clan and achieved his goal, it would be fine. This person has the chaotic energy. Our devouring Yuan realm is ineffective against him. Moreover, he is quite strong. We are no match for him. We have to retreat quickly. Tun Chi did not lose her rationality because of hatred. Mainly, even if she killed her way out, she might not be able to gain any benefits. She might not be able to defeat Li Zongjiao. Hence, it was best for them to escape as soon as possible. The chaotic force was not something they could contend against right now. If they were late, they would definitely be killed by Li Zongjiao. However, even if they wanted to escape, Li Zongjiao had never agreed. What a joke, I didn't say you can leave. As soon as he finished speaking, Li Zongjiao also charged out. Boom! There seemed to be a surge of energy under his feet. Li Zongjiao's speed exploded in an instant. The first thing he did was to reach Tun Chi, then he broke Tun Chi's throat. Bang! Tun Chi only had time to let out a wail. Then, Li Zongjiao killed her. She fell to the ground. The rest of the Golden Dragon clan also wanted to delay Li Zongjiao. As they attacked, they were all easily sent flying by Li Zongjiao. Jin Shan, who had been sent flying earlier, was still buried in the ruins and had never appeared. It could be seen how serious the injury from that punch was. One punch for one. They were all very weak. None of the devouring Yuan clan members who wanted to escape could run away. Even with the effulgence weapon in their hands, they could not leave any injuries on Li Zongjio's body. The 7-star moon slashing sword easily killed the people in front of him. Boom. The rest of the devouring Yuan clan members were also slashed to pieces by Li Zongjio. However, they were still alive because of their strong vitality. As long as their third eye was not damaged, they could continue to live. Bai Shisan was stunned when he saw Li Zongjio's terrifying fighting strength. Then, he turned into a white dragon and flew into the distance. Isn't it a little too late to escape now? Behind White 13, no idea when Long Ji's figure appeared. She was combing her hair with an exquisite wooden comb. She was a little embarrassed after being beaten up. Therefore, she had to maintain her delicate image and always carried a comb with her. When Bai Shisan heard the voice behind him, he was scared out of his wits. Without the devouring Yuan clans devouring Yuan territory, naturally, Long Ji's strength had recovered to its peak. These guys had chased her until she was in such a sorry state. Naturally, Long Ji wanted to take revenge. Bai Shisan released his mental strength. It formed a powerful mental attack that rushed toward Long Ji. What are you doing? I haven't even tidied up my hair. Are you trying to rebel? Long Ji's tone was full of resentment. Then she raised her palm. Bai Shisan's power was suppressed instantly. Bai Shisan knew that his attack would not have any effect on the latter. Immediately, he moved his body in a panic. At the same time, he fled into the distance. Obviously, a strong sense of danger was approaching rapidly. In the next second, Bai Shisan's body fell from the sky quickly. Boom! In front of Long Ji. Bai Shisan's power was no threat at all. Thank you for taking care of me before. Long Ji came in front of Bai Shisan. Her eyes were filled with a smile that frightened Bai Shisan. In the next second, she smashed Bai Shisan's head. Then she took out the dragon pearl. At the same time, she extracted Bai Shisan's dragon soul. You could have offended anyone, but you had to offend your sister, Long Ji. In Long Ji's palm, Bai Shisan's soul was suspended. She directly sent it into the dragon pearl. Soon, Bai Shisan's soul was sealed in the dragon pearl. With Bai Shisan's power, he could not break the power of the dragon pearl. The dragon pearl in her hand became a dragon soul pearl. The value of the dragon soul pearl was self-evident. Whether it was to the dragon clan or the human clan, it was equivalent to a supreme treasure. The main thing was to refine the dragon soul pearl directly and integrate the power within it into one's own body. It was also a very powerful object. For some people, they could directly exert the magical effect of the dragon soul pearl to the extreme. They could even completely release the power of the dragon soul pearl in an instant, forming a terrifying tide of power. They could completely release the power of the dragon soul pearl in one go. It could directly become a powerful weapon. There were many magical effects. However, the creation of the dragon soul pearl required a lot of effort. One dragon soul pearl required an entire giant dragon. It was naturally easy for Long Ji, who had recovered her strength, to kill Bai Shisan in an instant. It was no wonder that Jin Shan and the others wanted to recruit Long Ji. She was too powerful. Even if they wanted to mobilize the devouring Yuan clan, they would need to send out 5 experts. Li Zongjio had already killed everyone on the spot. He used a gunny sack to put the heads of Tun Chi and the others together. Since Li Zongjio had said that he would kill them all, how could he go back on his words? He had to kill everyone from the devouring Yuan clan. When the time came, he would pile the heads in front of the experts from the devouring Yuan clan and let them feel despair. I didn't expect you to have a hobby of collecting heads. Long Ji's figure flew over. She saw Li Zongjio's actions. However, Li Zongjio ignored Long Ji because Li Zongjio was not in the mood. Yes. When Long Ji saw Li Zongjio's cold expression, she could not help but curl her lips. In the dragon tribe, this old lady was considered a flower. How could this brat look down on me? I can only say that you have no taste. Li Zongjio caught the dragon soul pearl and looked at it. Finally, he looked at Long Zhi with an astonished gaze because the dragon soul pearl in his hand was not simple. In order to inject the dragon soul into the dragon soul pearl, one would need to be extremely strong. The dragon soul pearl was extremely fragile and the dragon soul was extremely strong. It was like stuffing a piece of tofu into a rock. How could an ordinary person do it? However, after stuffing it in, the power of the dragon soul pearl would gradually increase. This was the true power of the dragon soul pearl. Using the dragon soul to nurture the dragon soul pearl. This was also one of the ways to upgrade the dragon soul pearl. However, under normal circumstances, no one would do this as it was too costly. Sure enough, the experts who came out of the Draconic Penitentiary were not ordinary. My Draconic Penitentiary Secret Technique. Long Zhi saw Li Zongjiu's gaze and immediately understood. At the same time, she was surprised. Li Zongjiu seemed to know about the Dragon Soul Pearl. What a terrifying and mysterious guy. Those who came out of the Draconic Penitentiary were extremely terrifying. However, looking at Li Zongjiu's attitude, he was probably one of the most ruthless people in the human clan. After cleaning up, Li Zongjiu was ready to kill everyone on the Dragon Island. However, he still needed a lot of time to find them. For Li Zongjiu, time was the last thing he lacked. Seeing that Li Zongjiu was about to leave, Long Zhi quickly said, "I will help you find the Devouring Yuan clan. I know where they are." "You killed the Devouring Yuan clan. I will clean up the Devouring Yuan clan. You can do whatever you want with them. I will give you all the Dragon Soul Pearls that I have." Li Zongjiu stopped in his tracks. He turned around and looked at Long Zhi. Plus the Dragon King's treasury. Chapter 1445. The Dragon King's Treasury. Almost every Dragon King would have their own treasure trove, which was specially used to collect treasures. Most of the dragon tribe had such a hobby. They would find a place to store their treasures. Usually it would form a treasury. Li Zongjiu was not interested in these small treasures. However, there must be something powerful in the Dragon King's treasury. The dragon tribe had a history of tens of thousands of years. The Heavenly Demon Tribe and the Heavenly Sparrow Tribe, which used to be one of the top 3 demon tribes, had fallen to their current state. On the other hand, the Dragon Tribe had risen steadily. Now, they had even reached a point where they wanted to devour the entire continent. With such courage and confidence, he naturally had absolute strength. Deal. Long Zhi only hesitated for half a second before she agreed. For Long Zhi, there must be something powerful in the Dragon King's treasury. However, in the eyes of the entire dragon tribe, these precious items were just SOSO. Even if there was something extremely precious that couldn't be spread to the human tribe, Long Zhi still agreed to it right away. After all, she needed a fierce fighter like Li Zongjiu. Chaotic body? Where could she find such a helper? Long Zhi knew the value of Li Zongjiu. She knew that there must be a powerful force in Li Zongjiu. She did not expect Li Zongjiu to reach such a level. It was terrifying. How did he master the power of chaos? Even Long Zhi and the other members of the Draconic Penitentiary had not been able to find the existence of the power of chaos. Now that Li Zongjiu had popped out and possessed the power of chaos, it was naturally shocking. "Let's go," Li Zongjiu said faintly. He held the 7-star moon-slashing sword. He was ready to kill at any time. He wanted to kill all the Devouring Yuan clan members. That was the most important thing. He couldn't wait any longer. "All right." Long Zhi nodded. In the next moment, she turned into a ray of white light. Although she was injured, Long Zhi had many treasures in her hands. She ate a little and recovered to her peak state. His speed was also very fast. Li Zongjiu followed closely behind. He rode on his sword. Otherwise, it would feel weird flying in the air. At the same time, flying on a sword would save him some energy. Bush, bush. The two of them flew above the Dragon Island. Li Zongjiu looked at the scenery of Dragon Island under his feet. Although the last time he came to Dragon Island was 3,000 years later, Dragon Island at that time was almost the same as now. It was still in a state of exuberant vitality. There weren't many changes. However, when Li Zongjiu and the others flew past a barrier, they found that they had arrived at a barren land full of red rocks. At the same time, they felt a scorching heat. The Rocky Mountains below had been directly burned red. If he fell, he would definitely be cooked. At the mouth of the volcano below, a terrifying flame rushed out with a boom. The flame exploded and splattered everywhere. However, Li Zongjio wasn't afraid. To Li Zongjio, such a commotion didn't pose a threat at all. It wasn't as if he hadn't seen the world. This was originally the resting place of the flaming giant dragons, the nest of the flaming dragon tribe. However, the flaming dragon tribe has rebelled. Longji came to Li Zongjio's side and said softly. Li Zongjio saw a few dragon corpses lying in the magma. Usually, these flaming giant dragons bathed in the magma. Hence, the magma couldn't burn their bodies. Even if they were killed, they still stayed here. There were traces of battle everywhere. It seemed that Dragon Island wasn't peaceful either. In fact, the battle of the dragon tribe didn't spread to the territory of the human tribe. To the top experts of the dragon tribe, after unifying Dragon Island, it wouldn't be difficult to conquer the human tribe's mainland. After all, there weren't many experts in the human tribe. In fact, the human tribe was declining faster than the dragon tribe. After so many years, there hadn't been a single absolute saint expert. Such a human tribe could only be described as struggling at death's door. I'm not interested in your affairs. Li Zongjio didn't intend to continue listening. Because Li Zongjio wasn't here to solve the problem of the dragon tribe. He was here to reap the lives of these damned devouring Yuan clan. Up ahead is the first checkpoint, the Flaming Mountain. The dragon tribe was also divided into different ranks. Those who lived in the outermost layer were the dragon tribe that controlled the power of the elements. For example, the earth dragon and the fire giant dragon. The closest checkpoint was the flaming giant dragon's checkpoint, the Flaming Mountain. The evil dragon god was very talented in strategy. Not only did he want to defeat the dragon tribe, but he also wanted to eliminate all the dragon tribe that didn't agree with him. He wanted to change the dragon tribe's bloodline, a real reshuffle. Longji had already rushed past the 5th checkpoint and fled into the distance. She was almost out of Dragon Island. However, she was stopped before she could leave. If not for Li Zongjio's help, it would have been very difficult for Longji to escape. In front of the Flaming Mountain, there were several huge figures entrenched on top of it. If one wanted to enter the core of Dragon Island, they had to pass through here. It was also the shortest path. Even if they went around to other places or checkpoints, there would still be people stopping them. Boom. Before the two of them even got close to the Flaming Mountain, a scorching aura swept over them. At the same time, a cloud of fire spread out from the top of the Flaming Mountain, crazily surging in all directions. Longji, since you've already left, why did you come back? Are you really not afraid of death? 5 gigantic flaming dragons emerged from the mountain of flames. The bodies of these dragons were clearly much larger than those of the dragon tribe. Previously, Li Zongjio had encountered some young dragons. The dragon tribe's baby dragons, or those in their youth. They were not even more than 1,000 years old. 1,000 years old was a watershed for the dragon tribe. After cultivating for 1,000 years, they would have become a real old dragon. The 5 giant dragons in front of them were all 1,000-year-old dragons. These are the 5 great elders of the flaming giant dragon tribe. Longji said. At this moment, the 5 great elders of the dragon tribe realized that there was an unfamiliar figure beside Longji. Moreover, his aura was extremely weak. It was different from the wild and unrestrained aura of the dragon tribe. After seeing him, one of the elders exclaimed in surprise. Longji, you actually colluded with the human tribe? What can the declining human tribe give you? The supreme dragon tribe actually asked for help from the lowly human tribe. Longji, you're degrading yourself. Although the core power of Dragon Island was changing, everyone was at least part of the dragon tribe. It was just that their standpoints were different. However, Longji's behavior was already degrading herself. If word got out, the entire dragon tribe would be humiliated. Chapter 1446. Longji frowned as she listened to him. Longji also frowned slightly. To Long Ji, the human race and the dragon race were in a state of equality. A long time ago, the dragon tribe retreated to the dragon island because of the rise of the human tribe. However, the dragon tribe was in a state of seclusion. Moreover, they did not have any new knowledge to learn. It was as though they were in seclusion. They accepted some extremely stubborn and pedantic ideas. They wanted to stand at the top of the world, but they did not recognize all of this. They would always be aggressive. Li Zongjio did not intend to tangle with the dragon tribe. After all, they were just some boring insects. However, this guy was too arrogant. He kept calling them inferior. It doesn't matter what tribe you belong to. You slaughtered your own kind without any scruples. Is this the so-called nobility you speak of? Long Ji said coldly. Although they saw many corpses of the fire dragon tribe on their way here, the truth was that they were unwilling to join the evil dragon god's camp. Hence, they were killed by these huge dragons. To Long Ji, facing these people made her very angry. However, these 5 old dragons were not weak. If Long Ji was in her usual state, it would not be a problem for her to fight against 5 of them. However, since the other party was guarding this place, there must be experts from the Devouring Yuan clan. Under the Devouring Yuan seal, it would not be easy to break through the defense of the 5 elders. Roar! If it weren't for you people from the Draconic Penitentiary being so stubborn, how could such a bloody case have occurred? You all are the main culprits. Enough of your nonsense. Since Jin Shan and the others are unable to take care of you, let us do it ourselves. Then, 3 of the 5 huge fire dragons rushed towards Long Ji. Boom! The 3 huge fire dragons immediately spewed out towering flames, covering Li Zongjio and Long Ji. Long Ji raised her hand and a light screen appeared, blocking the flames outside the Yuan Qi light screen. Then, her eyes suddenly became sharp. With a flick of his wrist, he summoned a bright ring. In the dragon tribe, everyone had their own treasures. It was normal for them to have some special treasures. Heavenly Dragon Tooth. The weapon in his hand was the legendary Heavenly Dragon Tooth. However, it was made into a bracelet. As for the so-called Heavenly Dragon Tooth in his hand, its origin was also not simple. It was said that it came from a monster clan that was even higher than the giant dragon clan. It was also a dragon clan, but they were called Heavenly Dragons. These heavenly dragons possessed the ability to easily destroy the entire dragon island with just one breath. However, this legend was only a legend of the dragon clan. Naturally, the human race wouldn't know. In the legends, the heavenly dragon clan was incomparably powerful and was above the heavens and earth. It was equally mysterious, but no one had ever seen it. However, there were various things left behind by the heavenly dragon, such as this heavenly dragon tooth. In its original form, it was 5 feet long. After some polishing, it became such a small piece in his hand. Moreover, it was said that this sky dragon's tooth was only a tooth left behind when the sky dragon changed its teeth when it was young. That was why it fell on Dragon Island. It was hard to say exactly where they came from. However, when Long Ji took out the heavenly dragon tooth, the 3 fire elementals were enraged. The 3 great fire dragon elders were clearly wary. They continued to attack with their flames, forming a wave of flames that trapped Long Ji and the other great fire dragon elders. Li Zongjio did not take any action because Li Zongjio's target was the Devouring Yuan clan. As long as the Devouring Yuan clan did not appear, Li Zongjio did not need to take any action. After observing the situation, Li Zongjio stepped on the 7 stars moon's slashing sword and crossed his arms in front of him. The Devouring Yuan clan's aura was extremely weak and their ability to disguise themselves was also very strong. If they were to hide, it would not be easy to find them. Previously, Li Zongjio happened to be blindsided because of Long Ji's battle. Now, Li Zongjio knew that the Devouring Yuan clan must be on the Flaming Mountain. Since they were already there, he would wait for them to appear. Long Ji was not worried about Li Zongjio's situation at all. Long Ji was able to control the entanglement of the 3,000-year-old giant dragons very well. The heavenly dragon tooth was impervious to fire and water. It easily broke through the endless flames of the other party. Moreover, it directly cut open a large bloody wound on the body of one of the giant dragons. Blood immediately splattered out. Old 5. The first to be injured was Old 5. Seeing this, the other two quickly tried to grab Long Ji. However, Long Ji's yuan power trembled. She easily avoided the two giant dragons' encirclement. Swoosh. Sea of Fire Hell Calamity. The two giant flame dragons' bodies suddenly intertwined. Then they formed a giant flame net. This flame net intertwined from top to bottom, forming a terrifying flame of the heavens and earth. Li Zongjio saw the hidden killing intent in this move. In fact, it was considered a big move. Once one stepped on the flame, it was equivalent to falling into the giant flame net. Then, one's entire body would be entangled in the giant flame net. Moreover, it would attack from all directions at the same time, leaving one with no place to borrow strength. Boom. Long Ji, on the other hand, stepped into the air within the flaming chains. She swam above the waves of fire like a dragonfly, constantly gliding across the surface of the water, but never falling into the water. It's the heavenly dragon step. Now, devouring flow, do it. The injured Old 5 saw Long Ji's step. This move was the best counter to the Fire Dragon tribe's Sea of Fire Hell. As expected, Long Ji used it. At the same time, a deep abyss crawled out from Old 5's ear. Human figures appeared on the other two dragons as well. At the same time, they formed hand seals. Devouring Energy Barrier. Suddenly, the Devouring Energy Barrier appeared. It enveloped Li Zongjio and Long Ji. Long Ji knew that her opponent would use this move at the most critical moment. She immediately threw out the Heavenly Dragon Tooth in her hand. The Heavenly Dragon Tooth turned into a light screen and protected Long Ji. However, the Heavenly Dragon Tooth could not hold on for long. It could be sealed in the fiery hell at any time. Now, she could only hope that Li Zongjio would help. She is already a turtle in a jar. She can't escape. How can she fight against us when she has lost her origin energy? If it were someone with a stronger cultivation base, they could even control the range of the devouring energy barrier more accurately. For example, right now, it enveloped the two people in the Sea of Fire. Long Ji and Li Zongjio. Although Li Zongjio was from the human tribe, they had no intention of letting Li Zongjio go. They were prepared to kill Li Zongjio as well. Perhaps Li Zongjio's origin energy cultivation base was strong. Otherwise, Long Ji would not have invited him over in such a hurry and even had the guts to come back. However, it was a pity that there was only one outcome in the devouring energy barrier. That was to become a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. However, in the Sea of Fire, the fifth elder of the Flaming Dragon clan, who was quietly waiting for the fruits of their labor, and Tun Lu, who was standing on his back, were full of confidence. After all, they were old monsters who had cultivated for thousands of years. Their grasp of the situation was definitely the essence of the battle. Hundreds of years ago, these dragons would often go to the Xingwu continent to accumulate some combat experience. But later on, they weren't allowed to do so, because there would often be some melodramatic love between a human and a dragon. Later on, the Dragon Island was directly prohibited from doing so, otherwise, it would also contaminate their dragon bloodline. Various things could happen. At least in their eyes, the human tribe was a despicable race. Boom! A figure directly emerged from the flames. While everyone was still in a daze, the figure suddenly fell on the fifth elder of the Flaming Dragon clan. His eyes met with Tun Lu of the Devouring Energy clan. Chapter 1447. Tun Lu was shocked by Li Zongjio's speed. After all, ordinary people would not be able to use yuan power under his devouring energy enchantment. How did Li Zongjio do it? Li Zongjio must be an expert in refining his body. Seems like you are an expert in refining your body. Tun Lu was not surprised. After thinking it through, he understood. However, so what if you have such a high cultivation level? The Devouring Yuan clan was not without any fighting power. Open your sky eye. The Devouring Yuan clan could not get close to others. They had to keep a safe distance. Hence, Tun Lu immediately opened his sky eye. A strong beam of light shot out from his third eye and went straight for Li Zongjio's glabella. Bang! It was impossible for anyone to escape from such a short distance. A beam of light shot out. However, Li Zongjio merely tilted his head and dodged it easily. At the same time, he reached out and grabbed Tun Lu's neck. How did the devouring Yuan clan survive with such a weak fighting power? Li Zongjio could not help but mock him. At this moment, Tun Lu's life was in Li Zongjio's hands. You underestimate the devouring Yuan clan. Suddenly, Tun Lu's figure disappeared. It turned out to be a shadow. At the same time, Tun Lu's real body appeared 10 meters away. In an instant he swallowed a dragon ball in his hand. At the same time he used his devouring Yuan power to refine the energy of the dragon ball. Boom! Tun Lu released his aura. At this moment, he seemed to have transformed into a giant dragon in human form. Tun Lu had swallowed the dragon ball of an 800-year-old fire dragon. He had used a secret technique to mobilize the power of the 800-year-old dragon tribe. Tun Lu had gained such terrifying power in a short period of time. Heavenly Fire Fist. Tun Lu threw a punch at Li Zongjio. The punch contained the power of an 800-year-old dragon tribe. It was enough to kill any human. This was why the devouring Yuan clan was so powerful. They could absorb the energy essence of others and use it for themselves for a short period of time. However, only the experts of the devouring Origin clan were capable of doing so. The experts of the devouring Yuan clan could be categorized into heaven, earth, black, and yellow. For example, the ones that Li Zongjio had killed in the Shengwu continent at the very beginning were all unranked and were not ranked. The Tunchi he had killed in the outer island region had barely reached the yellow rank. Now, he was facing the devouring flow. He had activated Heavenly Fire and had mastered the ability to plunder, which meant Tun Lu had reached level. The Xian grade experts of the devouring Yuan clan had already mastered the basics and were able to absorb energy from the energy stones. In the blink of an eye, he could turn himself into a supreme being expert. Tun Lu's lose, of course. Tun Lu Tun. Bang. Tun Lu's himself. Tun. Ha! Tun Lu was taken aback. Logically speaking, Li Zongjio should not have been able to block Tun Lu's attacks since he did not have any Yuan Qi. He should have been beaten to death by Tun Lu. However, it was a pity that Li Zongjio was completely unharmed. He had even received Tun Lu's attack with ease. Tun Lu could clearly feel a huge force coming from Li Zongjio's body. The moment Tun Lu's fist and palm came into contact, Li Zongjio's strength was enough to crush Tun Lu to death. That's all. Li Zongjio's eyes were filled with disdain. Tun Lu immediately channeled all the energy in his body to form an earth-shattering force. He wanted to crush Li Zongjio. However, Li Zongjio did not move an inch. Even when the two of them collided, he did not budge at all. Even though the two of them were very strong, Li Zongjio still managed to crush Tun Lu's fist with ease. At the same time, there was a cracking sound. Tun Lu's 5 fingers were crushed by Li Zongjio's strength. You're courting death. The other 2 devouring Yuan clan experts on the giant dragons saw how badly Tun Lu had been beaten up. It was a slap to their faces. They immediately leaped up and refined the power of the Dragon Balls at the same time. One of them contained 900 years of cultivation power, while the other contained 700 years of cultivation power. With 900 years of cultivation power, they were already close to the absolute saint realm. The two of them attacked Li Zongjio at the same time. In their opinion, Li Zongjio must have some kind of treasure on him. Otherwise, how could he still maintain such a strong combat strength under the devouring Yuan enchantment? There must be something strange about it. They had to take down Li Zongjio first. Even if he had some kind of treasure, he could not hold on for too long. Boom, boom. The two of them attacked at the same time. Waves of air rolled and formed a flaming tornado in front of Li Zongjio. The Fire Dragon tribe's 5th elder, who Li Zongjio had been stepping on, did not move. He was quietly waiting for Li Zongjio to be smashed into pieces. Boom! Li Zongjio took the opportunity to land a punch on Tun Lu's body. Instantly, Tun Lu's body exploded into countless pieces of minced meat, splattering everywhere. Only his head was left, falling on the dragon's back. After all, the two of them were suppressed by Li Zongjio. Their power fell on Li Zongjio. However, Li Zongjio was completely unharmed. A ray of golden light flowed around him. It's the dragon tribe's golden body? Did he cultivate the dragon tribe's cultivation method? Obviously, the two devouring Yuan clan members saw through the changes in Li Zongjio's body. They immediately knew that Li Zongjio must have cultivated the Golden Dragon Tribe's cultivation method. Could there be a traitor in the Golden Dragon Tribe? Or could it be that the Dragon Tribe wanted to make use of this person and was already preparing to eliminate them? The people of Devouring Yuan clan were filled with thoughts. Soon, they thought of many things and became nervous. At the same time, they were considering whether they should continue fighting with Li Zongjio. Why hadn't the Dragon Tribe made a move yet? It was not that the Dragon Tribe did not want to make a move. It was because they felt that Li Zongjio was nothing they could not handle. However, reality proved that they really could not handle him. Trying to escape? Li Zongjio used the power of his golden body to execute the Dragon Claw technique and grabbed the two Devouring Origin clan's mysterious grade martialists. The two experts from the Devouring Origin clan were startled. They hurriedly tried to break free and escape, because if Li Zongjio could capture them, he could easily take their lives. However, Li Zongjio did not give them the chance to escape. He killed two people with a punch. Boom! Li Zongjio harvested 3 more heads. However, Li Zongjio took their storage rings and checked them casually. He found that the 3 of them had at least 30 Dragon Balls. No wonder the Devouring Yuan clan was so willing to cooperate with the evil dragon god. What kind of energy stone could be purer and more powerful than the Dragon Balls? Of course not. The Dragon Balls were good items for the Devouring Yuan clan to accumulate power. Speaking of which, these people were really quite careless. They could not believe that they could cooperate with the Devouring Yuan clan. It seemed like the evil dragon god was really evil. The 3 Devouring Yuan clan members died. Long Ji immediately felt it. The 3rd elder and the 4th elder were continuously using their Yuan Qi. The 2 giant dragons were shocked. Their huge dragon eyes saw a terrifying cold light surging out from the monstrous flames. Heavenly Dragon Tooth. The 4th elder exclaimed when he saw the thing that appeared. However, the Heavenly Dragon Tooth pierced his eyes in the next moment. The penetrating power was extremely strong. Chapter 1448. Long Ji waved her hand and the Sky Dragon Tooth flew back from another direction. It was stained with dragon blood and some dragon tendons. Thousand Moon, destroy! Long Ji suddenly threw the Heavenly Dragon's tooth into the sky. Immediately, the power burst out and rushed to the sky. Then, the Sky Dragon Tooth turned into thousands of pieces and fell like raindrops. Boom! The Sky Dragon Tooth pierced through the bodies of the 3 dragons. The 1st elder and 2nd elder, who were guarding the Mountain of Flames, hurriedly raised their heads when they saw the situation. Then, they spat out terrifying flames and scattered them into the sky. The flames turned into a rain of fire. Then they fell. Immediately, there was a ferocious heat as if they had turned into thousands of ferocious beasts when they fell. Sky Dragon, destroy! Long Ji's palms flew and the Sky Dragon Tooth spun rapidly. With a boom, it rushed in front of her and destroyed the flame spiritual beasts in front of her. Li Zongjio was hovering not far away, watching the battle between Long Ji and the 2 great elders. These 2 elders each had a cultivation of around 1,500 years. Their strength was not on the same level as the previous 3 great elders. Looks like it's not only Dragon Island but also other places. It was because when Li Zongjio arrived in his previous life, it was already 3,000 years later. However, he had never heard that there were so many experts in the Dragon Clan. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to kill the 4 supreme experts of the Dragon Clan so quickly. At that time, the supremes of the Dragon Tribe were very valuable. It seemed that with Li Zongjio's rebirth, these people's cultivation speed had also increased. It was really interesting. However, Li Zongjio did not care. Anyway, in this life, he had a firm belief to protect his family and his loved ones. These damn people from the Devouring Yuan clan, how dare they hurt Qi Yanran? As a result, Qi Yanran was now in a state of healing. Li Zongjio naturally would not let it go. If Qi Yanran did not have the green bird platform at that time, the consequences would be unimaginable. Boom. Long Ji seemed to be handling the attacks of the two elders of the dragon tribe with ease. She relied on the heavenly dragon tooth in her hand to strike the other party's body from time to time. Even if the two great dragon clan elders' cultivations were profound, they could not withstand Long Ji's attack either. The sharpness of the heavenly dragon teeth was something that even the two dragons did not dare to underestimate. Suddenly, the fire dragon tribe grand elder spat out something. It was actually a net of golden threads. The net of light quickly swept over, trapping Long Ji within. Even if Long Ji had the heavenly dragon tooth in her hand, it was still difficult for her to directly cut open the other party's golden light net in this short period of time. Incarnation. As the golden net continued to shrink, Long Ji clearly felt the pressure from the surroundings. She immediately clapped her hands together and a ferocious ancient aura erupted from her body. Boom! Immediately, Long Ji's aura spread out. He transformed into a purple dragon. As Long Ji released her main body, her strength increased explosively again. As he struggled, he actually tore apart the golden net. And the two great dragon clan elders were completely stunned. The thing that they were most worried about finally happened. As expected of an expert who walked out of the draconic penitentiary. Both of them sighed. What they were most worried about previously was that Long Ji was still hiding her strength. After all, she came from the draconic penitentiary. To be able to be sent to the draconic penitentiary to cultivate from a young age, the strength that she possessed was naturally not simple. Purple dragon? Li Zongjio was also surprised when he saw Long Ji's main body. Because in Li Zongjio's memory, he really had not seen this purple dragon before. As for what attribute it was exactly, he could not be sure. According to the classification of metabeasts, Long Ji should be considered a mutated attribute. After transforming into her main body, Long Ji's strength also increased explosively instantly, almost reaching the cultivation level of 1,800 years. Once again, she easily suppressed the two great dragon clan elders. Immediately, the three dragons tangled in the sky. The sun and moon collapsed, and the mountains and rivers collapsed. Boom! Rumble! The two great elders of the fire dragon tribe were directly knocked to the ground. Long Ji's figure descended and stepped on the two great elders of the fire dragon tribe one by one. With a furious roar, the sound waves also rumbled, and the grass and trees were cut into pieces. Boom! Long Ji immediately prepared to completely trample the people in front of her to death. However, at this moment, the towering flame mountain that was more than 10,000 feet tall. At this moment, countless cracks suddenly appeared on the mountain wall. After that, a surge of turbulent air exploded from the mountain wall. Boom! The flames were like a heavenly pillar that shot into the sky. A giant dragon that was more than 10,000 feet tall appeared. A powerful and oppressive feeling instantly attacked. Li Zongjio's clothes were also blown crazily by the other party's aura. The Fire Dragon Tribe Patriarch. Compared to the Thunder Dragon Tribe Patriarch, the Fire Dragon Tribe Patriarch in front of him seemed to be more powerful. Back then, the Thunder Dragon Tribe Patriarch that Li Zongjio fought should only have a cultivation level of 2,000 years. And the Fire Dragon Tribe Patriarch in front of him was at least 2,300 years old. A look of surprise flashed across Li Zongjio's eyes. If it was just the little dragons below who rebelled, it would be fine. After all, these little things stayed in such a place every day. Of course, they would be bored. They had a body of abilities but had nowhere to display them. It was fine if some of them were lazy, but there were still some very ambitious ones here. It was inevitable that they couldn't stay here. They wanted to go out and explore. They wanted to cause some trouble. But the Fire Dragon Tribe Patriarch in front of him already had a cultivation level of 2,300 years. He actually followed the little dragons below to cause trouble. It seemed that he was still very confident. This made him even more surprised. And Long Ji in front of him didn't seem to care about being surprised. The huge purple dragon head looked at the Fire Dragon Tribe Patriarch that rose up, and a little bit of light bloomed in its eyes. on the entire Dragon Island. The Fire Dragon Tribe Patriarch's strength could at least be ranked in the top 10. It was relatively strong, and the Fire Dragon Tribe was also one of the 5 elemental dragon tribes. There were at least 300 of them in the Fire Dragon Tribe. With such a strong force, why would they do such a boring thing to destroy the world and become the number 1 of the 10,000 tribes? So what? Of course, Li Zongjio himself could think of these things clearly, but the others might not. Li Zongjio's gaze landed on the Fire Dragon Tribe Patriarch. There was actually a figure standing on the back of the Fire Dragon Tribe Patriarch. The corner of Long Ji's mouth couldn't help but twitch. It was really difficult to deal with. The 2 heavily injured dragons also quickly came in front of the huge dragon that had just appeared. "Greetings, Patriarch." As the 2 elders of the Fire Dragon Tribe, the 2 of them could be said to have used all their moves today. But the 2 of them still couldn't take down Long Ji even after joining forces. This was enough to prove Long Ji's strength. If it took a little longer, they might be killed by Long Ji. Chapter 1449. Long Ji, if you leave now, I won't kill you. Fire Dragon Tribe leader looked at Long Ji. Long Ji was from the Dragon Tribe and she had a special identity. Her current strength had a lot to do with her bloodline power. Hence, the rest of the Dragon Tribe had been merciful to her. However, the 2 elders of Fire Dragon Tribe were no match for Long Ji. "Hand over that human brat and you can leave," Fire Dragon Tribe leader said. His voice was loud and clear, like 100,000 bells ringing at the same time. When the sound waves came, it made people feel as if their blood was boiling. Long Ji could leave, but Li Zongjio couldn't because Li Zongjio had killed the people from devouring Yuan clan. The cooperation between devouring Yuan clan and evil dragon god was very important. They couldn't give it up so easily. Hence, they had to keep Li Zongjio alive as an explanation to devouring Yuan clan. "Grandpa Huiyan, are you really going to betray Dragon Ancestor?" Long Ji had transformed into a human. If she wanted to fight with the Fire Dragon Tribe leader, she had no chance of winning. Moreover, the Fire Dragon Tribe leader had a group of top experts from devouring Yuan clan. Facing such a peak combination, Long Ji had no chance at all. However, she wanted to persuade the Fire Dragon Tribe leader with reason and emotion. If she could save the Fire Dragon Tribe leader, she might have a chance to turn the situation around. However, the Fire Dragon Tribe leader didn't budge. "You can stay at the side." Long Yan didn't want to kill Long Ji. Instead, he waved his hand casually. Under Long Ji's feet, a fireball was formed and enveloped Long Ji completely. It formed a cage of flames that trapped Long Ji. Long Ji wanted to break out of the fire cage. However, the 2 elders of the Dragon Clan opened their mouths at the same time and spat out flames to maintain the power of the flame cage. At the same time, the flames were also stacking up. Human tribes shouldn't interfere in this matter. You don't deserve to be involved. After trapping Long Ji, Huiyan was ready to get rid of Li Zongjio. How dare a mere human interfere in the Dragon Tribe's matter? How could he spare the latter? In addition to the hatred between the devouring Yuan clan and Li Zongjio, they would not allow Li Zongjio to leave. "You want to kill me, old thing?" Li Zongjio shook his head. Disdain was written all over his face. "Although I don't know what you are up to, I am here for the devouring Yuan clan. If the Dragon Tribe wants to stop me, don't blame me for being rude." Li Zongjio said. Li Zongjio did not intend to exterminate the Dragon Tribe yet. After all, it was the devouring Yuan clan that had offended him. The devouring Yuan clan was doomed. However, if the dragons want to stop Li Zongjio, then they can't blame Li Zongjio. Whoever stood in the way would be killed. Arrogance and conceit will always be the weakness of you humans, Huiyan said. At the same time, he was no longer courteous to Li Zongjio. He was already giving Li Zongjio face by speaking so much to a weak person like Li Zongjio. The huge dragon claw, which was covered in endless flames, fell towards Li Zongjio in an instant. The moment it fell, it was as if a huge meteorite was falling. Huiyan was so confident that he did not even need the devouring Yuan clan behind him to seal Li Zongjio's Yuan power. Instead, he used his own strength to deal damage to Li Zongjio. Long Ji, who was in the flaming cage, could clearly see the scene in front of her. Patriarch Long Yan's huge body was already shaking the heavens and earth when he moved his body. When he attacked again, it was as if the heavens and earth could not bear it. The space around Li Zongjio gradually collapsed. Li Zongjio, run away quickly. Patriarch Long Yan has 2,300 years of cultivation. He is not someone you can withstand. Long Ji immediately roared. She did not expect that there would be such an expert guarding this place. Originally, the experts in the Draconic Penitentiary would come to stop him, but now, there was no expert who could contend with the patriarch of the Fire Dragon tribe. As for Li Zongjio, although Li Zongjio was very strong, in Long Ji's opinion, Li Zongjio's uniqueness was that his physical strength was not controlled by the devouring Yuan clan. However, in terms of combat strength, even at his peak, he might not be much stronger than Long Ji. He would definitely die if he faced Patriarch Long Yan in front of her. However, Li Zongjio acted as if he did not hear her. He was still standing in the same place. Do not change to counter all changes? In my previous life, I was able to destroy the 4 patriarchs of the dragon tribe. This time I can do the same. You are not strong enough. Li Zongjio's words confused Hui Yan. He did not even know what Li Zongjio was talking about. Could it be that the pressure was so great that Li Zongjio was driving him crazy? However, it did not matter. After all, it was a matter of the claw. Boom. The Dragon Island was vast and boundless. However, the entire land of the Fire Dragon tribe shook when Hui Yan's attack landed. Logically speaking, Li Zongjio should have been smashed into powder. Everyone widened their eyes. The 2 elders of the dragon tribe were also curious about Li Zongjio. After all, this guy had killed a few experts from the devouring Yuan clan in a flash. How could he be defeated so easily? As expected of the patriarch, he was very strong. However, Long Yan frowned. He felt that it was too easy. It was a little strange. That's it. A voice came from the sky. No one knew when. Li Zongjio's figure appeared above Hui Yan. The attack just now did not hit him at all. While Long Yan was still in shock, Li Zongjio also released the 7 Stars Moon Slashing Sword. However, this was one of the 10 great ancient swords. When it got close to Long Yan, it was bitten by Long Yan before it could attack. It was as if he was eating sugar-coated haws. He bit the 7 Stars Moon Slashing Sword easily. Bang! Let's see what other moves you have. Suddenly, Long Yan's body surged crazily. Although his body was huge, his speed was extremely terrifying. In the blink of an eye, he had surrounded Li Zongjio. Waves of fire rolled and continuously attacked Li Zongjio's body. However, Li Zongjio's body was protected by a golden light. Since he was so arrogant, Li Zongjio did not mind ending the battle quickly. He stretched out his hand. He broke one of Hui Yan's dragon scales with one hand. Li Zongjio's body began to spin along with Hui Yan's body. There was a whistling sound. Hui Yan swung his tail, trying to send Li Zongjio flying. Break it! Li Zongjio tore hard and directly ripped off dozens of dragon scales on Hui Yan's body. Dragon blood splattered all over the sky. Because of this, Long Yan roared towards the sky in pain. Chapter 1450. A large piece of flesh was dug out by Li Zongjio. Such a severe injury must be unbearable. Roar! Li Zongjio reached out and grabbed a piece of dragon flesh from Hui Yan's body. Hui Yan shook his body crazily, trying to throw Li Zongjio away so that he could break free from Li Zongjio. Unfortunately, Li Zongjio's grip was tight and he kept punching Hui Yan's wound with his penetrating fist, causing damage. Boom! Boom! Hui Yan's body fell from the sky. Hui Yan's body exploded with powerful Yuan energy. After sacrificing a piece of dragon scale, he sent Li Zongjio flying. Bang! Li Zongjio's body was sent flying hundreds of meters away. However, this distance was nothing to Hui Yan. He quickly got up and slashed his claw at Li Zongjio. Unparalleled sword. Li Zongjio summoned the unparalleled sword. The moment Hui Yan's claw was about to land, he easily slashed it. Hua Yan's dragon claw fell to the ground. Bang! Dragon blood spurted out like a fountain. After the unparalleled sword in Li Zongjiu's hand was stained with the blood of the Fire Dragon Tribe's patriarch, its power seemed to have increased tremendously. Hua Wushuang also cultivated fire attribute origin energy. Now that the blood of the Fire Dragon Tribe's clan leader had poured into his body, Hua Wushuang's aura surged. Silent destruction. Hua Yan shouted when he felt that his claw had been cut off by Li Zongjiu. He knew that Li Zongjiu's strength was not simple. Hence, he had to kill Li Zongjiu, even if he had to borrow the strength of the Devouring Yuan clan. The Devouring Yuan clan's expert called Silent Destruction shook his body. He stood in the air and appeared in midair. Unlike the other experts from the Devouring Yuan clan, this Devouring Yuan clan's expert had cultivation. Ordinary members of the Devouring Yuan clan were naturally unable to cultivate because their bodies were filled with the talent of the Devouring Yuan clan. However, some of the stronger experts from the Devouring Yuan clan could use the sealing power and cultivate Yuan energy at the same time. With the combination of the two, the power was boundless. Earth-grade expert. Any Earth-grade expert in the Devouring Yuan clan who could cultivate could be considered a true Earth-grade expert. They had great power. Without hesitation, Nirvana appeared and cast the Devouring Energy enchantment, an Earth-level expert from the Devouring Energy clan. Boom! All of this accumulated on Li Zongjiu. The elemental energy on the unparalleled sword was instantly forced back and disappeared because the power of the unparalleled sword was not strong enough. Unparalleled sword was able to unleash sword's power. However, of unparalleled swords of the Devouring Yuan clan of unparalleled of the sword could sword woods. Let's see how arrogant you can be. Hua Yan laughed heartily. In his eyes, Li Zongjiu was like a toothless tiger. He was no threat at all. So what if Li Zongjiu was just relying on the powerful weapon in his hand? I'll definitely kill you. Li Zongjiu had lost all of his Yuan energy in the Devouring Yuan clan of the Devouring Yuan clan of the Devouring Yuan clan. His other claw swiped at Li Zongjiu. The power of flames lingered on the claw. Boom! However, Li Zongjiu still managed to dodge the claw. His body was still fast. However, Li Zongjiu did not fly too far away. A small black hammer appeared in his hand. When the hammer appeared, Yi Zichen was stunned. Long Yan immediately felt an incomparably clear pressure coming at him. What? While Long Yan was shocked, Li Zongjiu had already swung the hammer down. Boom! Half of the dragon's arm. It was instantly destroyed. Hua Yan roared in pain again. The entire dragon's arm was completely destroyed. He hadn't felt such pain for thousands of years. He did not expect that both of his arms would be destroyed as soon as he felt it. Flying demon tracking arrow. Nirvana drew a longbow in his hand. Then, a black light rushed toward Li Zongjiu. It was extremely fast. The black light seemed to have pierced through the sky, and Li Zongjiu clearly felt that he had been locked onto by this arrow. However, Li Zongjiu did not dodge. Instead, he stared at the black light in front of him. As if it knew Li Zongjiu's thoughts, the black light soared left and right. It kept changing directions in the sky. Finally, it suddenly shot toward Li Zongjiu's back. However, Li Zongjiu quickly turned around. He reached out and caught the black light in his hand. The arrow stopped 2 fingers away from Li Zongjiu's heart. He actually caught it. When he saw Li Zongjiu's action, Nirvana's eyes were filled with shock. Li Zongjiu was able to do this without any elemental energy. This Li Zongjiu was indeed terrifying. Come down! Li Zongjiu smashed the black dragon hammer in his hand toward Hua Yan's body. With a loud bang, the black dragon hammer hit Hua Yan's throat, almost breaking his throat. Then Hua Yan fell to the ground. Nirvana had always been on Hua Yan's back, looking down from above. Now that Hua Yan had fallen, Nirvana's figure naturally fell to the ground. However, Nirvana continued to hold the longbow in his hand. He kept shooting black light at Li Zongjiu. Li Zongjiu displayed his skill of catching arrows with his bare hands. No matter how many arrows were shot, he easily caught them. Then he crushed them all and threw them on the ground. Let's see how many more you have. Li Zongjiu picked up a rock from the ground. This rock was mixed with the power of fire. It was a volcanic rock. It flew towards Nirvana. Just the speed of the rock was faster than the speed of the arrow. However, to Nirvana, it was nothing. He immediately drew his bow and shot the rock into pieces. Boom! The volcanic rock suddenly exploded with a burst of energy, directly forming a fog in front of him. Nirvana's vision was blocked. Nirvana had a bad premonition in his heart. As expected, Li Zongjio appeared in front of him in the next second. He threw out a punch. Bang! Nirvana's elemental energy cultivation had already reached the Supreme Being realm. Even among the human race, he was already a top expert, who knew that Li Zongjio's punch would clearly tell him that he was trash. Half of Nirvana's teeth were sent flying. Bang! Nirvana's body rolled out on the ground, drawing a distance of tens of meters on the ground. He was about to get up and shoot Li Zongjio to death. However, Li Zongjio suddenly descended from the sky and broke his arm with a stomp. Then he kicked away the longbow in his hand. He stomped on his face. "Is that all you've got?" Li Zongjio looked at Nirvana with disdain. "With your strength, you still have the nerve to call yourself Nirvana? From now on, you'll be called Sweet Potato." Then, Li Zongjio stomped Nirvana's head into the ground. Chapter 1451. A gust of wind came from behind Li Zongjio. He lowered his body and dodged it. A gust of wind swept past Li Zongjio's head. Long Yen seemed to have taken some medicine and regained his power. If Silence was killed by Li Zongjio, then Li Zongjio would be even more difficult to deal with. Therefore, he had to deal with Li Zongjio before Li Zongjio killed Silence. Although both of his palms were chopped off, Long Yen used his strong cultivation and the power of flames to condense the remaining parts. He barely recovered 80% of his strength. Therefore, he continued to attack Li Zongjio. Long Yen continued to use the Divine Dragon Tail Whip. He smashed the surrounding rocks into pieces. Li Zongjio also retreated and somersaulted a few times. Otherwise, Li Zongjio would suffer if he was hit by Long Yan's power. After all, Li Zongjio did not have the invincible Vajra body. After dodging more than 10 moves, Li Zongjio finally found a flaw. He instantly stepped out and grabbed Long Yan's tail. Long Yan turned around to look. What did Li Zongjio eat when he was growing up? How could he have such great strength? Immediately after, Fire Flame felt an irresistible force bearing down on him. Immediately, he was lifted into the air. After Li Zongjio grabbed Long Yan's tail, he spun a few times in the air and was thrown out. Bang! After he landed, he caused a terrifying vibration. He even crashed into a volcano and collapsed it. Immediately, the lava in the volcano erupted. Li Zongjio looked back and saw that Silence had summoned a flying effulgence weapon and was trying to escape. Li Zongjio exerted force on his feet and arrived in front of Silence in an instant. Then he slapped Silence's back. The latter coughed up a mouthful of blood. He turned around and wanted to open his third eye to attack Li Zongjio. However, Li Zongjio did not hesitate at all. He extended his finger and poked at the man's third eye. The original defensive barrier was also directly blasted apart. Nirvana's body froze on the spot. Li Zongjio had destroyed his eyes, which was equivalent to smashing his heart with a single punch. Although the third eye of the Devouring Yuan clan was exposed, anyone who tried to attack the third eye of the Devouring Yuan clan would definitely be attacked. He knew how to protect himself. However, Li Zongjio's speed was too fast. Before his eyes could react, he had already pierced through it and exploded. While the latter was still conscious, Li Zongjio dug out Nirvana's eyeballs. His body immediately felt relaxed. The suppression from the Devouring Yuan domain also disappeared at this moment. Abundant elemental energy once again returned to Li Zongjio's body. When he turned back to look at Hui Yen had already climbed up with all his might. He quickly flapped his wings and flew into the distance. Boom! Long Ji also broke out of the flame cage left behind by Hui Yen. The heavenly dragon tooth appeared in her hand again. Long Ji could not wait any longer. When the two elders of the dragon tribe saw this, they knew that this vicious and merciless girl would definitely not let them off. Moreover, Long Zhi's strength was above theirs. She also fled in two different directions. Long Zhi also rushed towards the great elder of the fire dragon tribe without hesitation. After all, the great elder's strength was stronger. Naturally, the threat that he brought was greater. Long Zhi could not let the great elder leave. Since these people were already preparing to rebel, there was nothing more to say. They would become enemies sooner or later. Seeing Long Zhi chasing after him, the grand elder fled frantically. Unfortunately, Long Zhi once again transformed into her true form of a purple dragon. Her speed suddenly increased. Boom! The purple dragon's claws descended from the sky and caught the red dragon in front of him. The two dragons were fighting in the sky, but the purple dragon was more likely to inflict serious damage on the red dragon below. Rip! In the sky, the fire dragon tribe's patriarch was torn into two halves. With a shrill cry, the fire dragon tribe's first elder was torn into two halves. His fate was extremely miserable. Although Long Zhi was a woman, her methods were indeed frightening. She didn't dare to be careless at all. As for Li Zongjio, he directly caught up to Huoyan. "Where are you running to?" Li Zongjio sneered. "You think you're strong?" Li Zongjio then took out the unparalleled sword and cut off the fire dragon tribe leader's wing. Immediately, the wing fell from the sky and fell to the ground. The other wing was also cut off by Li Zongjio. Huoyan could no longer resist Li Zongjio's sharpness. The dignified chief of the fire dragon tribe with 2,300 years of unparalleled cultivation was actually easily killed by Li Zongjio today. How pitiful was that? However, Li Zongjio did not care about your name at all. No matter what your name was. If you blocked his path, he would naturally kill you. He finished off the fire dragon tribe leader with a single sword. Then, he took out the latter's dragon ball. Huoyan's huge body fell to the ground with a loud bang. Blood flowed out continuously, covering the ground. Huoyan's blood was even hotter than magma. Any magma that came close to him was directly devoured by his blood. "This dragon ball is good for you. Unfortunately, I don't know how to make Long Zhi's dragon soul ball." Li Zongjio said. Huo Wushuang appeared in front of him and took the dragon ball in Li Zongjio's hand with both hands. The dragon ball was still hot. She directly took the dragon ball and began to absorb it very seriously. Although Huoyan's dragon soul was not sealed in it. But for her, the power of the dragon ball was enough. The unparalleled sword would definitely be upgraded to a higher level. It was worthy of being a weapon made by the ancient demon clan. It actually had such powerful strength and toughness. Or it could be said that the original unparalleled sword had certain limitations. But now, with Huo Wushuang's addition, the unparalleled sword had become even more powerful. There would be more improvements in the future. Huo Wushuang held the dragon ball and returned to the unparalleled sword. Then she began to cultivate. Li Zongjio looked back. The corner of his mouth hooked up into a cold smile. The fire dragon tribe's second clan leader had already fled thousands of miles away. He also restrained his aura and turned into his human form. He did not dare to fly in the sky with his dragon body. Who knew if the two people would directly chase after him? It was hard to say what would happen. It was better to be careful first. But just as he was about to leave, a figure descended from the sky. It blocked his way. "I didn't want to kill you, but you just humiliated the human clan. I can't let you go." Li Zongjio turned back with a smile on his face. Chapter 1452. The second elder of the fire dragon tribe had transformed into an old man. When he saw Li Zongjio chasing after him, he was so scared that he broke out in cold sweat. How could he break out in cold sweat in such a hot environment? It could be seen how terrified the second elder was of Li Zongjio. "I surrender. I'm willing to submit to you," the second elder of the fire dragon tribe said in a deep voice. However, there was no sincerity in his eyes. It was as if he had been forced into a desperate situation. His face was full of unwillingness. At the same time, the second elder of the fire dragon tribe was extremely confident. He believed that Li Zongjio would definitely treat him well and treat him well. One had to know that it was a great honor to have a giant dragon submit to you. This meant that you had gained the recognition of the dragon tribe. Naturally, it was something worth bragging about. Li Zongjio might be considered strong among the humans, but it wasn't that easy to gain the recognition of a giant dragon. Therefore, Li Zongjio had such an opportunity because the second elder of the fire dragon tribe didn't want to die just like that. He would come back to take revenge on Li Zongjio in the future. As long as he was alive, there would definitely be a chance. Moreover, Li Zongjio wouldn't be able to live for long on this dragon island. He was just pretending to surrender now. After making Li Zongjio happy, he would naturally stop killing. I didn't expect you to be such a spineless person in the dragon tribe. Li Zongjio immediately glanced at the second elder. He directly exposed the second elder's fake face. The second elder's face was stiff and as black as iron. Li Zongjio didn't immediately reply to the second elder's question. He directly raised the black dragon hammer in his hand and smashed it towards the second elder. "Why do you still want to kill me?" The second elder exclaimed and was hit by Li Zongjio's hammer. He spat out blood and flew out. What's so special about a giant dragon mount? Li Zongjio had never cared about such things. Li Zongjio only wanted to experience the bluestone dragon. Although it was a great deterrent to ordinary people, Li Zongjio discovered that even if he didn't need the bluestone dragon to pull his carriage, he would still be able to use it. It was still full of deterrents. Wherever they went, as long as they heard the name Evil Lord, they would basically admit defeat. Some of them were further away, so sometimes they couldn't receive the message in time and still lived in their own world. If they didn't know how powerful Li Zongjio was, then Li Zongjio would take the time to teach them a lesson. That would be enough to let them know how powerful he was. Even now, he didn't need to personally teach them a lesson. Li Zongjio already had a lot of followers. Of course, Li Zongjio didn't care. He would deal with those who needed to be dealt with. The second elder of the fire dragon tribe was directly killed by Li Zongjio. Then, he dug out the dragon pearl from the fire dragon tribe's elder. In just a few minutes, Long Ji came again. At the same time, she threw a dragon soul pearl to Li Zongjio. Obviously, this was the dragon soul pearl that belonged to the fire dragon tribe's great elder. "You're really fast." "Yes." Long Ji wasn't surprised that Li Zongjio killed the second elder. Li Zongjio's temper was also the weirdest that Long Ji understood during this period of time. She didn't know what kind of personality this guy had. Many things could be done at any time. It was hard to fathom. Of course, Long Ji didn't care what kind of person Li Zongjio was. Now that both sides cooperated, it was considered smooth. Your ancestral dragon's faction should have been mostly killed, right? Li Zongjio looked at Long Ji. They had just arrived and they had already encountered such a powerful enemy. The fire dragon tribe's patriarch already had a cultivation of 2,300 years. If they continued, the evil dragon god would probably be a 3,000-year giant dragon. A 3,000-year giant dragon was already extremely terrifying in terms of strength. Li Zongjio estimated that if he wanted to deal with such a giant dragon, he would have to summon his will directly. However, Li Zongjio didn't know if the other party had also condensed his will. Li Zongjio naturally wasn't worried. Nothing could make Li Zongjio afraid. However, this poor little girl Long Ji would die sooner or later if she continued to fight. With her cultivation, it was simply not enough. Long Ji seemed to have noticed the pity in Li Zongjio's eyes. Immediately, a trace of pride appeared in her eyes. "I don't know what will become of Dragon Island in the end, but protecting the ancestral dragon's inheritance is the responsibility of the Draconic Penitentiary." Long Ji was very responsible. Hearing the latter's words, Li Zongjio nodded his head. So this Long Ji was an idiot. She didn't even try to figure out the situation. She only knew how to charge around recklessly. She was very stubborn. If you, Long Ji, continue to act like this, who knows what will happen? For a mere belief that didn't exist, she was willing to sacrifice her life for a piece of broken land. Yet she said it so firmly. Li Zongjio really despised her. "This is Dragon Island's matter," Long Ji said stubbornly, as if she didn't want to be looked down upon by Li Zongjio. Hence, she turned her head away, as if she wanted to say that they would settle the matter of Dragon Island themselves. Naturally, Li Zongjio was clear that he would settle the matter of the Dragon Island himself. At the very most, he would be wiped out by then. Who was righteous and who was evil? This kind of thing wasn't certain. Only the living have the right to continue writing history. Even if the Dragon Island wants to defeat that evil dragon god, it won't be that easy. Since the evil dragon god had the ability to rebel, he must have made sufficient preparations to completely destroy them. As for Long Ji, she naturally understood this point. However, as a member of the Draconic Penitentiary, she could only continue on this path full of thorns. Only death could stop her. After Long Ji transformed into a human, she was an extremely beautiful and charming existence among the human race. Now that she was in danger, she had no choice but to charge forward. This kind of feeling made one's heart ache. However, Li Zongjio didn't feel any heartache at all. What's there to feel heartache about? The path was chosen by oneself. However, this evil dragon god was indeed a threat. To Li Zongjio, he would have to fight with this evil dragon god sooner or later. Why not bring this battle forward? You, bring me to find that evil dragon god. Li Zongjio said. When Long Ji heard this, her delicate body trembled. This man was actually so interesting. He was simply the most hard-hearted and soft-hearted. On one hand, he looked down on her behavior. But now, he was willing to help her deal with the evil dragon god. It was truly touching. Just as the two were chatting, suddenly, from the core of Dragon Island, a burst of energy exploded into the sky. Boom! This fluctuation was truly earth-shattering. The entire Dragon Island seemed to be trembling because of it. This caused Long Ji to be stunned. Not good, they're attacking the ancestral dragon land. The ancestral dragon, also known as the Dragon Ancestor. It was said that he was the founder of Dragon Island. It was also because of the Dragon Ancestor's power that some of the dragon tribe could survive. The reason why the evil dragon god was making such a big fuss and inciting so many dragon tribes to defect. First, it was to control the entire Dragon Island. Then, it would lead the entire Dragon Island to kill the other races and become the true king of all races. Now, the final battle had finally erupted? Let's go! Li Zongjio said. Long Ji, on the other hand, shook her body and transformed into a giant purple dragon. Come up, I'll bring you there. It'll be faster. Long Ji said. Immediately, Li Zongjio flew and landed on Long Ji's back. Boom! A gale swept up. Long Ji transformed into a ray of purple light and quickly rushed forward. Chapter 1453. Ancestral Dragon's Graveyard. It could be said to be shining brightly with waves of energy. Both sides could be said to have sent out all their experts. Among them, there was a black dragon leading. This dragon was the culprit behind all of this, the evil dragon god. The evil dragon god belonged to the black dragon bloodline. The black dragon. It was even said that the evil dragon god's bloodline had shown signs of atavism, so his bloodline could be considered as the true ancient black dragon bloodline. Under the evil dragon god's command, 7 of the top 10 dragons of the dragon clan had come. Apart from the 4 elemental dragon clan leaders. The clan leaders of the Golden Dragon Clan, Blood Dragon Clan, and White Dragon Clan. All of them had submitted to the evil dragon god. On the side of the Draconic Penitentiary, most of them were mutated dragons. The members recruited by the Draconic Penitentiary were all mutated dragons with special abilities. Although they looked a little strange, their strength and potential were all extraordinary. It was not that simple. However, it was precisely because the Draconic Penitentiary's composition was a little special that in the eyes of these people, they were a different race from the Dragon Clan. To let these different races guard the graveyard of their dragon ancestor, it was naturally very unsuitable for them. In addition, the Draconic Penitentiary had brought too much fear and trauma to the other dragons for too long. That was why these people were in so much pain. They had waited until today to completely explode. They wanted to fight to the death with these Draconic Penitentiary. The evil dragon god's body was not big, less than 150 feet. However, his aura was the most powerful one present. There were a total of nearly 20 experts on the Draconic Penitentiary side. It could be said that the true elites had come out and summoned all of their subordinates. However, it was clear that these people's strength was still not enough. Just these 7 experts of the Dragon Clan alone represented an entire branch of the Dragon Clan. Now that all of them had gathered, the remaining manpower of the Draconic Penitentiary was not enough. The 7 clan leaders of the Dragon Clan all had a cultivation of 2,500 years and above. Among them, the first was the clan leader of the Blood Dragon Clan. 2,900 years of cultivation. The second was the clan leader of the Golden Dragon Clan. 2,800 years of cultivation. The third was the clan leader of the White Dragon Clan. 2,600 years of cultivation. Cultivation did not represent age, but a way of evaluating the Dragon Clan's combat strength. At the very least, the 2,900 years of cultivation meant that he was close to reaching the peak of the Absolute Saint realm. The hidden power of the Dragon Clan was quite astonishing. Therefore, it was unclear whether the Sacred Martial Realm was more powerful or whether the Sacred Martial Continent was more powerful. Or perhaps the 2 continents were originally the same continent, but later formed the Untainted Land. Due to various circumstances, the 2 continents were directly separated. The power of the Sacred Martial Realm had also been weakened before. There had been a period of decline. With such power, it was indeed very normal for the Dragon Island to not put the human race in their eyes. What was there to say? There were only a few supreme beings in the human tribe. Of course, there were a lot of supreme beings in the Untainted Land. However, there was not a single supreme saint in the Untainted Land. At present, there was also Li Zongjio and Qi Yanran to support them. It was still okay. However, the strength of the 20-odd people in the Draconic Penitentiary was truly formidable. They were actually able to withstand the attacks of the other party. 10 figures appeared in the sky. These 10 were the supreme beings of the Devouring Yuan clan that were still alive in the Shanggu continent. They were also the most powerful beings of the Devouring Yuan clan. The 10 of them did not make a move. They just watched from afar. After all, now was not the time to make a move. Watching the Dragon Clan killing each other in front of them was a very enjoyable thing to watch. These 10 supreme beings of the Devouring Yuan clan were all in the Earth realm. Moreover, their cultivation was also in the Absolute Saint realm. The Absolute Saint of the Devouring Yuan clan. This evil dragon god's combat strength is indeed formidable. The other clan leaders of the Dragon Clan are only 3,000 years of cultivation, but this evil dragon god's combat strength is close to 4,000 years. They were more than 1 level higher. That was why there was such a huge gap. If the people of the Draconic Penitentiary didn't cultivate in the ancestral Dragon Land all year round and receive a boost in strength here, they wouldn't be a match for these people in front of them. However, the evil dragon god was only a small figure, but it easily defeated the experts of the Draconic Penitentiary. Boom! The evil dragon god fought against 3 experts by himself. He held back the 3 overlords of the Draconic Penitentiary. These 3 overlords all had a cultivation of 3,000 years. If it was any other time, any one of them could easily wipe out the entire Dragon Clan. That was why the Draconic Penitentiary was so terrifying. It even became the top trial ground of the Dragon Island. However, the Draconic Penitentiary had never participated in any change of authority. It had always followed the teachings of its ancestors and guarded the ancestral dragon graveyard, never leaving. Of course, it didn't hesitate to capture the rebels of the Dragon Clan and punish them. However, the strength of the Draconic Penitentiary was too strong. The rest of the dragon tribes were naturally afraid of the existence of such a powerful force. If you say you won't take action, then you really won't take action. Who knows the specific situation? As long as you're still alive, you're already a threat. The 3 wardens of the Draconic Penitentiary had used all their moves, but the evil dragon god was unscathed. In fact, the previous attack could be said to be a joint attack by the 3 of them in an attempt to defeat the evil dragon god, but the evil dragon god easily blocked it. The subsequent attacks had also caused quite a number of injuries to the 3 of them. Looking at the remaining experts of the Draconic Penitentiary, They were almost stalled by them. Immediately, the warden roared, "Retreat to the ancestral land." If they didn't retreat now, there would be casualties. The rest of the experts of the Draconic Penitentiary flew out after hearing the order. They flew towards the ancestral dragon graveyard. They went into hiding again. At least the ancestral land's protective array was not something the evil dragon god could break through. Do you think you can escape? The evil dragon god glanced at the experts of the Draconic Penitentiary who were flying back. He wasn't worried. There were only 20 of them in total, so they weren't much of a threat. However, after taking down the 3 wardens of the Draconic Penitentiary, these people could only wait to die. The evil dragon god didn't care about the rest, but the 3 wardens had no chance to escape. Just as they were about to retreat, the experts of the Devouring Yuan clan attacked. Earth-level Devouring Yuan barrier. A cold light trapped the 3 top experts of the Draconic Penitentiary. 1. The Yuan chi in their bodies was rapidly fading. If the Devouring Yuan clan was weaker, they might not be able to control their Yuan chi so well. There wasn't even a bit of Yuan chi left in their bodies. This showed how terrifying the Devouring Yuan clan was. They lost their Yuan chi. Their speed and fighting strength dropped instantly. Warden! Warden! Roar! The experts of the Draconic Penitentiary, who had already hidden, roared crazily when they saw the warden being stopped. Don't come out. You are the last hope of the dragon clan. The warden roared. The warden was a golden dragon, but his claws were crimson, and there was a red line on his abdomen. A crimson gold dragon. Although he was inside the Devouring Yuan barrier, the warden didn't give up resisting. Evil dragon, do you want to be the greatest sinner of the dragon clan? Chapter 1454. The 3 wardens of the Draconic Penitentiary were trapped. But they weren't panicking. They already knew that this was going to happen, so they weren't too worried. They just didn't expect the glory of the dragon clan to fall in their hands. Thinking of this, they were overwhelmed with emotions. This shouldn't have happened at all. They didn't expect the most outstanding member of the Draconic Penitentiary to become the biggest villain. The evil dragon god was also a member of the Draconic Penitentiary, but he became so evil later on. It could be said that the 3 wardens had taught him everything they knew. But now, the evil dragon god had honed his claws and fangs and turned against them. He even turned the Dragon Island into its current state. He was really a good disciple. You are outdated. You don't have the final say in the Dragon Clan, but the Radiant. Only under my leadership can the Dragon Clan prosper. You have become an obstacle to the Dragon Clan's development. Do I have to say more? The evil dragon god said slowly. Then he transformed. He transformed into his human form in front of the 3 wardens. Obviously, he had absolute confidence. There was no need for him to bare his fangs and brandish his claws. The 3 wardens in front of him were already at the end of their rope. They were really pitiful. The 7 clan leaders also transformed into their human forms, and the color of their clothes was similar to their true forms. They even looked down on other colors and thought that other colors were ugly. Only their skin color was the most perfect color in the world. The 3 wardens looked at each other and transformed back into their human forms. Being in human form wasn't a privilege of the human race. In fact, the Dragon Clan thought that this form could help them conserve energy and make it more convenient for them to do things. At least they could hear each other's words clearly when they were talking. The evil dragon god looked like a young man in his late 20s, but the evil in his eyes was monstrous. He was extremely powerful. If one kept staring at the evil dragon god's eyes, they would feel like they were lost in the darkness. You are so stubborn. Are the 7 of you going to follow this guy and destroy the world? The warden roared, but the 7 clan leaders were unmoved. They weren't interested in establishing a new order. They just had an excuse to destroy the Draconic Penitentiary. They were born from the same root. But you're too powerful, and you've become a threat to them. Naturally, they can't let you live any longer. I'm sure the Great Warden is aware of this. An ordinary man's wealth is his own ruin. The fault of the Draconic Penitentiary was that it was too powerful. The 7 of them all had various reasons to destroy the dragon prison. Not all of them were instigated by me. They were all believers of the evil dragon bloodline. Grandmaster, do you know now? The evil dragon god shook her head. When the head warden heard the evil dragon god's words with his own ears, he looked at the expressions of the other clan leaders. They were all incomparably cold, and there was even a hint of joy in their eyes. It was as if his heart had been struck by lightning. For many years, the Draconic Penitentiary had never asked about other things on the Dragon Island. Only when the Dragon Clan discovered something that endangered the Dragon Island would the Draconic Penitentiary carry out its duties. He thought that such an action would make the other dragons believe in the Draconic Penitentiary. However, it seemed like the first thing they thought about after becoming stronger was how to get rid of the Draconic Penitentiary. He was truly cunning and sinister. The despicable and shameless ways of the dragon race must have been learned from the human race. This was something that the evil dragon god was able to display to the extreme. It's getting late. I'll send you on your way first. Later, your disciples, my junior brothers and sisters, will all come looking for you one by one. The evil dragon god said. He spread out his hands. A ray of light filled with dark energy condensed in the center of his palms. However, just as the evil dragon god was about to attack, suddenly, a wave of energy was released from afar. Boom! The dozen or so experts present also sensed the appearance of this energy, and they were all very familiar with it. My good junior sister, I didn't expect you to be so loyal. The evil dragon god put away the dark energy in his hands. It was Long Ji. In the Draconic Penitentiary, besides the evil dragon god who had the best talent, Long Ji was second. However, Long Ji's cultivation time was far less than the evil dragon god's, so this situation happened. Long Ji's strength was not as strong as the evil dragon god's. As for Long Ji, the evil dragon god had invited her many times, wanting to develop her into his right-hand man. However, Long Ji did not accept his invitation. She had even said many times that she would protect the ancestral dragon graveyard with her life. Moreover, the Draconic Penitentiary was still the center. At that time, the evil dragon god knew that Long Ji could not be persuaded. Even so, the evil dragon god did not care. Although he had shown mercy to Long Ji, if she did not accept it and insisted on coming to throw her life away, the evil dragon god would not be merciful in the slightest. He would definitely kill Long Ji. Those who wanted to achieve great things did not care about trifles. If the evil dragon god was so easily tied down by Long Ji, how could he achieve great things? It's little Ji. The three Draconic Penitentiary wardens also felt this aura. They could not help but raise their heads to look in the direction Long Ji came from. One must know that Long Ji's arrival was an act of suicide. Although they were moved by Long Ji's sincerity, under such circumstances, the three Draconic Penitentiary wardens still hoped that Long Ji could leave this place and go far away. When she had the strength to take revenge, she would come back and kill this traitor of the Dragon Clan. The purple dragon accelerated all the way. Li Zongjio also truly felt Long Ji's speed. If he were to go at full speed, Li Zongjio would at most be able to keep up with Long Ji, and he would not be able to maintain it for such a long time. In addition, there were some places on this dragon island that had extremely harsh environments. If one did not have a strong body, there was no way to get close. The slightest bit of carelessness would cause one to be directly struck by the terrifying astral winds. Therefore, Li Zongjio did not try to be brave. Instead, he directly landed on Long Ji's body to save energy. Boom! Long Ji broke through the air and arrived. Without hesitation, she charged into the earth-level energy-devouring barrier. When Long Ji rushed over, the energy in her body also blasted towards the person in front of her. It was a purple dragon's aura. It blasted towards the evil dragon god. However, this dragon breath energy was easily dissolved when it came close. Because it was made of yuan energy, it did not have any effect in the earth-level energy-devouring barrier. There were no miracles. In just a moment, it disappeared completely. It did not even touch the evil dragon god's hair. Huff! Evil dragon, do you want to deceive your master and destroy your ancestors? Long Ji transformed into a human. She was so angry that her chest heaved up and down. Chapter 1455. The evil dragon god looked at Long Ji indifferently. Didn't you escape from the Dragon Island? Why did you come back to die? The evil dragon god didn't want to kill Long Ji. Even if they became enemies in the future, at least she could live. But now that he saw Long Ji's situation, she was simply courting death. For the sake of his grand plan, he had no choice but to be ruthless. If he didn't do anything and just endured, his subordinates wouldn't be convinced. Although the 7 Dragon Clan patriarchs were on his side now, after he dealt with the threat of the Draconic Penitentiary, they would immediately turn against him. The clan leaders of the 7 Dragon Clans would definitely turn around to deal with him. Therefore, he had to be extremely careful. He had to be ruthless when doing things. Otherwise, the people in front of him would definitely not let go of any opportunity to eat him up easily. Therefore, after dealing with the people of the Draconic Penitentiary, he had to deal with the 7 Dragon Clans one by one. These old bones were all sinister and cunning. If he wasn't ruthless enough, how could he suppress these people? Little Ji, you shouldn't have come. Evil dragon, let your junior sister go. It's our fault. It has nothing to do with Long Ji and the others. The 3 prison wardens also stood out and pleaded for Long Ji, hoping that the evil dragon would spare her life. At least Long Ji was the hope of the Draconic Penitentiary. If she was killed, the Draconic Penitentiary would have no power to turn the situation around. Why bother? As long as you're loyal to me, I'll let the Draconic Penitentiary continue to exist. None of you will die. Great Master, are you going to let everyone in the Draconic Penitentiary die with you just because of this? You should know that once you die, none of the people in the Draconic Penitentiary will be able to escape. The evil dragon god said slowly. He had explained the situation very clearly. If they were still stubborn, the evil dragon god wouldn't have to be polite anymore. There was a limit to a dragon's patience. If the Draconic Penitentiary had submitted, he could borrow the power of the Draconic Penitentiary to fight against the 7 Dragon Clan patriarchs. Now that he had dealt with the Draconic Penitentiary, he still had to deal with the 7 Dragon Clan patriarchs. At least half of them must die. Otherwise, it would become a huge threat in the future. Of course, as long as the evil dragon god refined the power in the ancestral dragon graveyard, the 7 patriarchs wouldn't be in his eyes. Grandmaster, don't worry. Today, I am here to deal with senior brother Evil Dragon. Long Ji said indifferently. The evil dragon god smiled faintly and shook his head helplessly. Suddenly, the evil dragon deity's eyes changed. His target was the devouring Yuan clan's expert who had set up the formation in the sky. 2 of the 10 devouring origin clan's experts were beheaded. Bang bang. With the black dragon hammer in his hand, Li Zhongjiu approached the devouring Yuan clan members with ease and exploded their heads. Then he charged towards the devouring Yuan clan members without hesitation. When the situation was under his control, he could talk more nonsense. However, if the situation was not under his control, he could talk about the situation on the spot first before speaking. Li Zhongjiu did not only know how to act cool. When they spoke less nonsense, they wouldn't even greet you. By the time the third person reacted, it was already too late. By the time he regained his senses, Li Zhongjiu's black dragon hammer had smashed into his face. Boom! Not only was there an explosion, but the boundless lightning power also spread rapidly in all directions. It directly strung the remaining 7 people up. Boom! The 7 people who were strung up immediately felt a terrifying power that began to destroy their bodies. Some of them even had their third eye explode because they weren't in the Yuan devouring zone. Although they were prepared, Li Zhongjiu's speed was too fast and they couldn't react in time. Boom! The evil dragon deity instantly moved. He charged towards Li Zhongjiu. These devouring Yuan clan members were his main forces. They would be very effective against other clans in the future. But now, they were being killed by Li Zhongjiu. Naturally, he couldn't just watch as Li Zhongjiu killed all of his subordinates. You're courting death. The evil dragon deity rushed over. His powerful aura directly attacked Li Zhongjiu. Li Zhongjiu waved his hand. Bell of Chaos. The Bell of Chaos appeared in the sky and quickly enlarged. It directly enveloped the evil dragon deity and the other 7 clan leaders. Boom! The evil dragon deity's power was instantly entangled by the chaotic power. Boom! They felt the terrifying power coming from all around them. The evil dragon deity also roared. The 7 dragon tribe leaders also felt as if a huge mountain was crushing down on them. The 8 of them immediately attacked at the same time to resist the power of the Bell of Chaos. At this moment, Li Zongjio easily took the lives of the remaining Devouring Yuan clan members. The lightning power on the Black Dragon Hammer suddenly increased. It directly blew up the bodies of the Devouring Yuan clan members in front of him. The last person was bold. He directly blew up his arms. His body immediately flew backwards. Only then did he avoid dying under Li Zongjio's thunderous attack. The latter kept retreating. He even directly crushed a teleportation scroll. A force enveloped the latter, and his body was instantly teleported away. At this moment, 10 Earth-level experts of the Devouring Yuan clan. 9 died and 1 escaped. This was the real difference between them. It was a piece of cake for Li Zongjio to ambush the members of the Devouring Yuan clan and kill them with his Yuan force. The remaining member had already escaped. Obviously, it was impossible for him to gather enough experts to deal with Li Zongjio or the Dragon Clan. Without the help of the evil dragon deity, it would be more difficult for them to open the dimensional door of the Devouring Yuan realm. But now that they were facing an unknown assassin, it was better to escape as soon as possible. As the last expert of the Devouring Yuan clan escaped, the pressure on the 3 wardens instantly disappeared. Then, the 3 of them widened their eyes and carefully looked at the figures in the sky. They were also shocked by the Bell of Chaos that blocked the 8 of them. It's the Bell of Chaos. Heavenly Sparrow Clan? The warden also knew about the origin of the Bell of Chaos. It was said that the Grand Elder of the Sky Sparrow Clan had a similar Bell of Chaos. Longji saw that Li Zongjio had really killed all the Devouring Yuan clan members. It was almost an instant kill. She was simply stunned. She stared at Li Zongjio with her eyes wide open. "Little Ji, where did you find this helper?" The warden couldn't help but ask. This was simply a god of war. The evil dragon deity suddenly threw out a punch. A dark evil aura exploded from his body and instantly blasted the cauldron away. The Chaos Bell also spun a few rounds in the sky. In the end, it was summoned back by Li Zongjio and stepped on under his feet. He stood in the air and looked at the evil dragon deity and the others. "You black man, you must be the evil dragon deity that they were talking about." Chapter 1456. Li Zongjio stepped on the primordial bell. With the death of the Devouring Yuan clan members, everyone's Yuan Qi was restored. Li Zongjio's Yuan Qi was not affected at all. Powerful energy spread out. The 7 dragon race patriarchs were extremely shocked when they sensed the power of the primordial bell that Li Zongjio had released. Just now, Li Zongjio had relied on this primordial bell to pin down all of them. If the evil dragon god hadn't intervened, they would have been dead already. It was likely that the 7 of them would also be suppressed by the primordial bell. Once they were suppressed by the primordial bell, it would not be easy to get out. The primordial bell's primordial bell was enough to crush them. It would not be easy to resist it. The evil dragon god glanced at Li Zongjio. Looking at the fate of the Devouring Yuan clan members, although the evil dragon god was shocked, he did not show it. If he was dead, he was dead. He did not care. It would just be more troublesome. "You're a human?" However, the evil dragon god realized that Li Zongjio was not a member of the dragon clan. He was a human. The evil dragon god was quite surprised that a mere human could possess such power. Although the human race was talented, they lacked patience. Who knew how many years it would take for them to cultivate to such a level? However, Li Zongjio had actually appeared in front of him and killed the Devouring Yuan race that he had recruited. This was a great provocation to the evil dragon deity. "That's right. You can call me Evil Lord. I heard that you're causing trouble on Dragon Island. Swear to the heavens that you won't attack my human clan. Then I'll leave." Li Zongjio said. The reason why he did this was to save himself the trouble of fighting. After all, the evil dragon god was not weak. If they fought, it might take a few days. If the evil dragon god was willing to surrender, Li Zongjio could let him go. But Li Zongjio was sincere. In reality, from the evil dragon god's point of view, this was a deliberate insult to him, an attempt to kill his prestige. How could he, as an elite of the dragon clan, not know of such a despicable trick? How could he not know of such a despicable trick? At the same time, he had already figured out all these tricks. Thus, the evil dragon god smiled disdainfully. Childish. Do you think I won't be able to rule Dragon Island after killing these devouring Yuan clan members? The evil dragon god immediately sneered. Although the evil dragon god's skin was already quite dark, and he didn't feel much when Li Zongjio called him a little black man, the evil dragon god didn't feel anything. He didn't realize that this sentence was mocking him. He thought that it was just an adjective. That's not it. Just now I was afraid that these people would run away, that's why I killed them a bit faster. You guys are the strongest fighting force on the Dragon Island, right? 7 patriarchs. Why don't I know you guys? Li Zongjio looked at the patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe and the others. Originally, Li Zongjio thought that he would meet old acquaintances from his previous life. This feeling of killing you again was indeed a little strange. However, Li Zongjio was surprised to find that he didn't know any of the people in front of him. It was already 3,000 years later when he came to find him in his previous life. For the Dragon tribe, 1,000 years was almost a cycle. However, it was clear that the Dragon tribe this time was relatively strong. Therefore, it wouldn't be a problem for them to last another few thousand years. Hearing Li Zongjio's words, the patriarchs of the Dragon tribe were confused. What is this human brat talking about? Does he know them? Dream on. They are the high and mighty Dragon tribe. How could they have seen a human like you before? What nonsense is he talking about? Human brat, this matter has nothing to do with you. Get lost. The patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe roared in a low voice. He was wearing a set of golden clothes that looked like a dragon robe. He looked majestic without being angry. Moreover, one could tell at a glance that he was a muscular maniac. Although it was covered by the clothes, once it was exposed, after all, his explosive muscles were simply amazing and shocking. Li Zongjio picked his ears when he heard this. His words were full of provocation. Immediately, the patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe was furious. This brat dared to look down on him. You're just a human. Watch me beat you into a meat patty with one punch. Immediately, the patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe's body swayed. His entire body was emitting golden light, but he didn't transform into his true form to bully Li Zongjio. Instead, he threw a punch straight at Li Zongjio. This punch seemed ordinary, but if one was touched, it would definitely feel as if 100,000 rhinoceroses were trampling over one's body at the same time. Li Zongjio immediately activated the ancient golden body art, and his body also emitted a golden light. The light surged, and the two fists immediately collided. Bang! There was a loud explosion. Both of them used their own strength and didn't use any other abilities. Li Zongjio's body swayed on the spot. However, the patriarch was directly blasted back. The patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe was instantly sent flying. Under everyone's gaze, he flew hundreds of meters away and landed on the ground with a loud bang, his feet dragging long marks on the ground. The accumulated soil buried half of his body under his body. The patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe clutched his arm. Cold sweat flowed down his head. After the collision of the two fists just now, the patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe's arm had been completely broken. What surprised the patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe the most was that the moves and power that Li Zongjio used just now were so familiar. It was the ancient golden body art of the Golden Dragon tribe. You? How did you use the long-lost cultivation method of the Golden Dragon tribe? The patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe roared. Lost cultivation method? Li Zongjio was shocked when he heard what the patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe said. How could this be lost cultivation method? Are you kidding me? Li Zongjio didn't expect such a thing to happen. The 3 wardens of the Dragon Penitentiary were stunned. What exactly was the background of this young human who had killed his way out? He had single-handedly held back 8 experts. At the same time, he had also killed the experts of the devouring Yuan clan. Now, he had even forced the patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe to retreat with a single punch. Are you kidding me? It's one thing for you to send the others flying. The Golden Dragon tribe expert that you sent flying just now was the best at close combat among the Dragon tribe. How could you send him flying just like that? Moreover, the three wardens were also extremely shocked by Li Zongjiu's moves. The ancient golden body art of the golden body art was not lost. However, only the first half of the ancient golden body art of the golden body art was left. The last part of the cultivation method after breaking through to the absolute saint realm was lost. It wasn't complete. Many of the Dragon Tribe's books were incomplete. Where did Li Zongjiu get the complete ancient golden body art of the golden body art? Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to suppress the patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe in one move. It could be seen that Li Zongjiu's strength was strong and his origin was mysterious. Who is he, Xiaoji? The warden asked. Him? In the human race, it seems that everyone calls him Evil Lord. Chapter 1457. The dignified patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe only has this little ability. Li Zongjiu didn't expect that the patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe in front of him seemed to be much weaker than he had imagined. Even in terms of cultivation technique, there was already a strong suppression. Li Zongjiu was almost standing on the commanding heights, suppressing the patriarch. Therefore, the patriarch of the Golden Dragon tribe couldn't exert any effect in front of Li Zongjiu. Blood Soul Realm. The patriarch of the Blood Dragon tribe wasn't here to watch the show. Now that he found an opportunity, he quickly withdrew and approached Li Zongjiu. At the same time, the Blood Soul Realm erupted. A terrifying force instantly enveloped Li Zongjiu. It was different from the devouring energy barrier. In the Blood Soul Realm, the strength of the patriarch of the Blood Dragon tribe would instantly increase by 50%. A full 50% increase in strength was already a very top-notch realm barrier. However, this realm barrier only had an effect on the Blood Dragon tribe. If anyone else entered, their strength would be directly suppressed by 50%. This was an absolute suppression of strength. However, before the patriarch of the Blood Dragon tribe attacked, he felt an extremely powerful force. It was devouring the power of his realm. What? Just as the patriarch of the Blood Dragon tribe was shocked. His Blood Soul realm was actually completely suppressed by the power released by the other party. Blood Soul Hell. The Blood Soul Hell merged with the Hell Prajna technique. The power formed far exceeded that of the Blood Soul realm. It could even be said that it was much more complete than the Blood Soul realm. Now that such power was displayed, it easily devoured the Blood Soul realm of the Blood Dragon tribe's patriarch. Is that all you can do? Li Zongjiu frowned. He could feel that the other party's Blood Soul realm didn't seem to be complete. It seemed that the power of the Blood Soul realm after 3,000 years was the true complete power. Now, it wasn't complete power for them. Although their cultivation had increased, their combat strength hadn't increased much. The extra Yuan energy couldn't keep up with their cultivation realm. This was very awkward. Therefore, Li Zongjiu easily injured the Blood Dragon clan's patriarch. The blood spirit world that he had painstakingly condensed was so easily broken and absorbed. It was also extremely cruel. It was equivalent to having one's cultivation instantly reduced by 50%. Bang! The leader of the Blood Dragon tribe also descended from the sky. He landed heavily on the ground. He fell not far away from the Golden Dragon clan's patriarch. The two top experts had both failed. The patriarchs of the Golden Dragon tribe and the Blood Dragon tribe. Both of their strengths were ranked in the top 3 among the 7 clan leaders. The only one who could contend against the two of them was the White Dragon clan leader. But now, both of them had been defeated. The others also looked at Li Zongjiu in disbelief. This was not a difficult victory after tens of thousands of rounds of battle. Instead, he had defeated his opponent in the blink of an eye. What they displayed were the cultivation methods that they were most proficient in. Just what in the world was up with this human? Could he be the reincarnation of the ancestral dragon? Could it be that this person is the reincarnation of the ancestral dragon? How could he be so proficient in the unique skills of the dragon tribe? The third warden of the Draconic Penitentiary said in surprise. He did not believe that someone could be proficient in so many martial arts techniques. Who would have thought that there would be such a perverted person among the humans? How could the rest of the dragon tribe survive? Don't talk nonsense. The second warden scolded. Even if he was reincarnated, he was still a dragon. Li Zongjio was clearly a human. How could he be the reincarnation of the ancestral dragon? Reincarnation, my ass. The bull's head does not match the horse's mouth. Although they did not believe it, Li Zongjio must have a great relationship with the seniors of the dragon tribe. Otherwise, how could Li Zongjio have mastered all the complete martial arts of the dragon tribe? As long as he had one of these unique skills, he would be able to dominate the entire dragon island. Li Zongjio had now shown two of them. The evil dragon god was also very interested in Li Zongjio after seeing that he had defeated the two clan leaders. It seemed that Li Zongjio's origin was not simple. There must be some secret in it. White Dragon Clan leader, go and test him. It was a good opportunity to take advantage of Li Zongjio to teach these clan leaders a lesson. Otherwise, these dragons would think that they were invincible. They would not take him seriously. It would save him a lot of trouble to deal with them one by one. The White Dragon Clan leader did not hesitate. He did not believe in this evil. He was very confident in his own strength. After all, the unique skills of the White Dragon tribe were very difficult to comprehend. If it were not for his innate talent and intelligence, it would not be easy to learn them. An extremely obscure ripple gradually spread out. Immediately, a distortion of power could be clearly felt in the sky. Along with this distortion of power, it was a state of closure. Everyone around felt their bodies involuntarily floating up. It was as if their feet were about to leave the ground. It was as if they were floating in the air. White God Fu, spiritual binding. The unique skill of the White Dragon lineage, White God Fu. His powerful mental energy was able to bypass all restrictions and control you. Once such terrifying strength was unleashed, it would definitely be an earth-shattering existence. He wanted to bind Li Zongjio. Naturally, it was very easy. Li Zongjio was proficient in two types of secret techniques, which was already amazing. However, it was impossible for anyone to be able to compete with the White Dragon Clan's patriarch in terms of mind power cultivation under such circumstances. After all, this was the only thing he could eat. The formless spiritual power turned into a terrifying spiritual storm chain, which headed straight for Li Zongjio to bind him. Boom! Li Zongjio shook his head in the storm. He stood on the spot and did not move. The White Dragon Clan leader was pleasantly surprised. After all, Li Zongjio looked as if he was completely helpless. In front of this endless, invisible spiritual power, how could a mere Li Zongjio resist? It must have let you feel what was called true irresistible power. Absolute suppression in terms of spiritual power. It was enough to kill Li Zongjio. This was also the reason why the Golden Dragon Clan leader and the Blood Dragon Clan leader did not dare to pat their chests and say that they were number one. Although the White Dragon Clan leader's cultivation was a little weaker than theirs. However, this gap was almost negligible. The truly terrifying thing was this pervasive spiritual power. Die. Once bound by the spiritual power, Li Zongjio could die instantly with just a thought. However, Li Zongjio spread his hands. White Dragon Clan. White God Fu. Is this all you have? Don't call it White God Fu. Just call it White Worm Binding. It's not a problem to catch a little worm. The terrifying thing was that under the control of the White Dragon Clan leader's spiritual power, Li Zongjio acted as if nothing had happened. Chapter 1458. The clan leader of the White Dragon Clan thought that he was dreaming. Li Zongjio had been completely enveloped. Why did Li Zongjio look so indifferent? Could it be that he was not hallucinating? Then he looked at Li Zongjio. Suddenly, Li Zongjio's eyes shone with a bright light. Buzz. The body of the White Dragon Clan leader instantly stiffened. It was as if he had been petrified. When the evil dragon god saw the change in the White Dragon Clan leader, he immediately reached out and grabbed the White Dragon Clan leader in front of him. At this moment, the White Dragon Clan leader was still expressionless and motionless. Even his eyes were lifeless. Trash. With just a glance, the evil dragon god knew that the White Dragon Clan leader was dead. A battle of mind power was often more thrilling than one could imagine. If one was not careful, one's mind power would disappear completely. One's mind power would be instantly wiped out by the opponent. So now, the White Dragon Clan leader had been defeated in the battle just now. Moreover, Li Zongjio had wiped out his mind power, which was equivalent to wiping out his soul power. So, the White Dragon Clan leader. Now, he was already a dead man. His body would soon return to its original form. The evil dragon god threw the corpse of the White Dragon Clan leader far away. After a while, it transformed into its original white dragon form. It appeared directly in front of them. Everyone saw the corpse of the White Dragon Clan leader displayed here. Their expressions changed drastically. He had killed the clan leader of the White Dragon tribe so easily. What was Li Zongjio's background? His strength was so terrifying. As for the death of the White Dragon Clan leader, the Blood Dragon Clan leader and the Golden Dragon Clan leader were not surprised at all. Because in the battle just now, the two of them knew how big the gap between them and Li Zongjio was. As long as Li Zongjio wanted to, he could easily kill them with a thought. But for some reason, Li Zongjio held back. He only defeated them. Too ferocious, too ferocious. Seeing how powerful Li Zongjio was and how he was slaughtering his way through the evil dragon god camp, the evil dragon god camp's morale had been completely wiped out. The three wardens in the Draconic Penitentiary were also excited. The experts of the Draconic Penitentiary in the Ancestral Dragon Formation wanted to come out, but they were stopped by the third warden. The current situation was still unclear. He decided to wait and see. If he were to remove the Ancestral Dragon Grand Array rashly, he would be sending himself to his doorstep for nothing. Hence, it was better to be careful. After all, the evil dragon god hadn't even made a move yet. Although Li Zongjio was powerful, he might not be this evil dragon god's match. However, the current situation had already taken a huge turn. At the very least, the evil dragon god's faction no longer had an overwhelming victory. With the appearance of Li Zongjio, the other party's arrogance was completely suppressed. Long Ji did not expect this. Li Zongjio was actually willing to help. After all, dealing with the evil dragon god was a matter of courting disaster. However, Li Zongjio had killed so many experts of the Devouring Yuan clan along the way. The evil dragon god probably wouldn't let Li Zongjio go. There would be a battle between the two sides sooner or later. It wasn't too late for Li Zongjio to make a move now. The three clan leaders had all been defeated. The remaining four clan leaders, although they had some strength, did not dare to blindly participate. After all, his strength was nothing compared to this place. Even the White Dragon Clan leader was dead. Hence, it would be easier for Li Zongjio to kill the four of them. They should take advantage of this good opportunity to escape. The remaining four clan leaders did not dare to make a move. They all hid behind the evil dragon god. The evil dragon god also knew that these trash were unreliable. No wonder it had been suppressed by the Draconic Penitentiary for so many years. Now, he had finally found the reason. The evil dragon god was not in a hurry to kill the people in front of him. They would definitely be useful in the future. The most important thing now was to deal with Li Zongjio. If you are willing to submit to me, I can spare your life. When conquering the myriad worlds, he needed to have a lot of people in his hands. A person like Li Zongjio would be a very useful assistant to him. Follow me to the myriad worlds. When I become the ruler of the myriad worlds, you will be the vanguard general. The evil dragon god also spoke of his grand wish. At the same time, he glanced at Long Ji and the others. Unfortunately, Long Ji and the others could not be persuaded. You little black? Li Zongjio looked at the evil dragon god in front of him and laughed disdainfully. Although Li Zongjio didn't know what the concept of the myriad realms was, he knew that it wouldn't be easy to survive in the myriad realms. Li Zongjio had seen a true powerhouse. A person who stood at the peak and had the combat power of the peak. It was the powerhouse from the Ape Clan. The Ape Clan was also one of the 9 clans. It could be said that the 9 clans had truly established a complete history, enough to leave a mark in the heavenly Tao. That powerhouse from the Ape Clan. He grabbed the Beast God Tower with his bare hands. He had exterminated the entire fallen race and even forced them into the sacred martial realm. It was enough to see how ferocious this powerhouse from the Ape Clan was. He did not give them a chance to breathe and directly killed them. Li Zongjio was confident in his own strength. But he also knew that the Ape Clan was powerful. With his strength, it was impossible for him to defeat them. The other party could cripple him in minutes. If he met this powerhouse from the Ape Clan now, Li Zongjio would only need to lie on the ground. It would be easier to die like this. As for the little black dragon in front of him, its aura was far inferior to the powerhouse from the Ape Clan. He did not know what children these days were thinking. With this little strength, the powerhouse from the Ape Clan could kill you with a slap. You still have the nerve to say that you want to become the ruler of all realms. You might even be killed as soon as you step out of this door. The evil dragon god felt the provocation and disdain in Li Zongjio's words. This was a great insult to him. A mere human dared to look down on him. A cold light flashed in the evil dragon god's eyes. Are you mocking me? The evil dragon god emitted a cold aura. Isn't it obvious? Li Zongjio spread his hands, indicating that he was very obvious. He was mocking him. You asked for it, a group of ignorant people. The evil dragon god abruptly turned around, and a dark aura instantly erupted from his body. The power of darkness was like layers of cotton quilts, spreading out between the sky and the earth and surrounding Li Zongjio. It's the Black Dragon Clan's Hell Prajna technique. The wardens of the Draconic Penitentiary hurriedly cried out. The first master of the Draconic Penitentiary was actually a member of the Black Dragon Clan. The main cultivation method he cultivated was the Hell Prajna technique. Only after learning it would one deeply understand how powerful it was. It wasn't something that could be resisted so easily. In front of those who were not proficient in the Hell Prajna technique, no one could escape from the terrifying power of hell. It would definitely be easy to kill them. Li Zongjio was deep in hell and would definitely encounter great danger. Li Zongjio was about to be swallowed by the power of hell. The 3 wardens made a prompt decision. Old 3, you stay here. We'll go help our friend Evil Lord. Although Li Zongjio's nickname was Evil Lord, he was at least attacking the evil dragon god. He was their friend in the Draconic Penitentiary. They had to help Li Zongjio. After all, Li Zongjio was helping them kill so many people in front of them. At least they could turn the situation around. All right. With a boom, the 2 of them rushed to Li Zongjio's side. Li Zongjio saw the 2 approaching and could not help but frown. What are you doing here? Li Zongjio looked at the 2 of them. The Draconic Penitentiary is grateful that our friend Evil Lord is willing to help. At the same time, we can't watch our friend die. The power of hell is not something ordinary people can resist. The evil dragon has cultivated the Hell Prajna technique to the 5th level. Ordinary people can't resist it. The warden said. Then can you stop it? Li Zongjio looked at the 2 of them and did not look like they could resist it. We can hold on for a while. Find a way out. The 2nd warden of the Draconic Penitentiary said. Forget it. I'll do it myself. Li Zongjio said. He looked up at the power of hell displayed by the evil dragon. The power of darkness? This is the dark hell. Such pure power of darkness. Li Zongjio suddenly felt the origin pearl in his body. The black dragon's origin spirit, which should have been hidden, actually showed itself at this moment. It was very interested in the power of darkness that filled the sky. Where could he find such pure power of darkness if he left this place? Feel my dark boundless hell. Li Zongjio immediately raised his hand and waved at the sky. Suddenly, the power of darkness of the evil dragon god rushed into Li Zongjio's palm. This scene scared the evil dragon god to death. How is this possible? Why isn't this guy restrained by my power of darkness? Why is he still absorbing my power of darkness? Li Zongjio's move not only frightened the evil dragon god, but also the two wardens. At the same time, a terrifying black dragon shadow appeared behind Li Zongjio. Chapter 1459. The evil dragon god felt that not only did the power in his body not cause any harm to Li Zongjio, but it also strengthened Li Zongjio's own strength. It seemed that Li Zongjio had absorbed it. At the same time, he could see the black dragon shadow behind Li Zongjio. When he saw the black dragon shadow, the evil dragon god was stunned. He was a member of the Black Dragon clan. But the Black Dragon clan was already very rare. As a member of the same clan, the evil dragon god must know who was in the Black Dragon clan. But when he saw the black dragon shadow, he realized that he didn't recognize the Black Dragon clan in front of him. But he still felt a sense of oppression from the Black Dragon shadow. Such powerful power. My Black Dragon clan's original spirit was refined by you. The evil dragon god's eyes shone with a cold light. He didn't know when the Black Dragon clan had fallen for his trick. But to kill a Black Dragon clan's original spirit was equivalent to looking down on the dignity of the Black Dragon clan. It was infuriating, especially to the rare Black Dragon clan. The two wardens of the Draconic Penitentiary who had caught up also saw the Black Dragon shadow behind Li Zongjio. Naturally, they glared at him. The original spirit of the Dragon clan. Li Zongjio had mastered the skills of the Black Dragon clan. He must have a deep connection with the Black Dragon clan. But they didn't expect Li Zongjio to possess the original spirit of the Dragon clan. In that case, Li Zongjio could be considered an enemy of the Black Dragon clan. After all, Dragon Island didn't allow outsiders to refine the Black Dragon clan's original spirit. Even if you had the ability, you couldn't refine the Black Dragon clan's original spirit. Otherwise, the Black Dragon clan on Dragon Island would definitely come looking for trouble. Unless you could deal with all the Black Dragon clan. Otherwise, the Black Dragon clan would definitely stop you from doing such a thing. But now, Li Zongjio wanted to help Dragon Island defeat the evil dragon god in front of him. It's fine if he can defeat the evil dragon god. After all, he is the benefactor of our Black Dragon clan. The Grand Warden whispered. However, the second warden disagreed. He believed that Li Zongjio's behavior had already made him an enemy of the Dragon clan. After all, their Draconic Penitentiary also had one of the duties, which was to protect the rights of the entire Dragon Island. If they knew that someone had secretly hunted and killed a dragon and refined it into origin spirit power, they would definitely be punished. The Draconic Penitentiary would be the first to act. They continued to send out experts to kill these people and take back the dragon souls of the dragon race. At the same time, I want to kill you. This was to erase the humiliation of the Dragon clan. This matter cannot be settled peacefully. If you want to leave the Dragon Island, you must hand over your Yuan spirit. The second warden of the Draconic Penitentiary said in a deep voice. However, he was communicating with the other party at the moment and did not tell Li Zongjio about it. If they were to fight now, and Li Zongjio didn't help them deal with the evil dragon god, the Draconic Penitentiary would also be destroyed. Therefore, it was better to wait and see what Li Zongjio would do. Outside of this dark hell, the others naturally didn't know what was going on. The Yuan spirit of the dark dragon summoned by Li Zongjio easily devoured the evil dragon god's power of darkness. The power of the evil dragon god was completely ineffective against Li Zongjio. It was easily blocked. The evil dragon god continued to attack, but it was unable to hurt Li Zongjio. Li Zongjio let out a low roar. Immediately, a terrifying power erupted from his body. Immediately, the dark dragon Yuan spirit behind him also surged. It fluttered and swallowed the dark domain in front of it. The source of the evil dragon god's power was basically completely absorbed by Li Zongjio at this moment. What other moves do you have? Li Zongjio finished absorbing the evil dragon god's power. Now, the evil dragon god only had the power to barely maintain the dark domain. The evil dragon god felt the power in its body weakening. It couldn't muster up any strength. But how could it let Li Zongjio go so easily? It admitted defeat just like that. If I don't have some strength, how can I control the entire dragon clan? The evil dragon god roared in a low voice. Then, a strong light burst out from his hand. It could be seen that it was a shiny object. At the same time, a powerful pressure erupted from the small object in the evil dragon god's hand. Buzz. A terrifying power was released. The dark dragon god under Li Zongjio also felt a sudden pressure. Immediately, Li Zongjio's curiosity was piqued. What exactly was this thing? It actually had such an effect and could release such a powerful pressure. Moreover, it was obvious that these things belonged to the dragon tribe. I don't know what kind of fancy thing you've created, Li Zongjio said indifferently. Although the pressure was strong, Li Zongjio wasn't afraid. The evil dragon god in front of him wasn't enough to scare Li Zongjio. If it was really powerful, it wouldn't have been forced into such a state. Evil dragon eye. Dragon eye? This dragon eye naturally didn't belong to the evil dragon god. The reason why the evil dragon god had such great power and talent was because of this dragon eye. That's why it had such great power. What a powerful deterrent. This thing is definitely not simple. It's an item of the Heavenly Dragon clan. The two wardens were extremely shocked at this moment. They didn't expect the evil dragon god to have obtained something that belonged to the Heavenly Dragon clan. And it was an eye that belonged to the Heavenly Dragon clan. This is the Heavenly Dragon Eye. The evil Heavenly Dragon clan can release unlimited dream force. The evil dragon god said slowly. Then, a surge of elemental energy was injected into the Heavenly Dragon Eye. Suddenly, the surrounding power in the dark hell seemed to rapidly change. There seemed to be terrifying black seawater beneath their feet. Moreover, there were countless eyes under the seawater. Although the surroundings were dark, the existence of these eyes was like specks of starlight emitting light. But if you were directly attracted to this world of endless starlight, you would completely fall into this place. The two wardens of the Draconic Penitentiary naturally couldn't resist the power of this illusion. But it was as if they had really fallen into the sea. Li Zongjio looked back. At this moment, the two people on the ground directly fell to the ground without any resistance. This dragon eye of yours is a pretty good treasure. Li Zongjio's cultivation base wasn't weak to begin with, so he was able to sense such treasures very quickly. So he knew that if the evil dragon eye really activated this power, the effects would be obvious. The effect it would cause was obvious. It would definitely be quite terrifying. But this thing fell into the evil dragon god's hands. It was simply a great waste. And the evil dragon god actually used this thing to deal with him. It was simply too funny. Li Zongjio had the body of the evil god. Previously, he felt that he had reached the peak in all aspects. So it was very difficult for him to continue improving. But now, an evil dragon god had appeared. Naturally, it became Li Zongjio's nourishment. Evil soul eye, open. A strange fluctuation immediately appeared in Li Zongjio's eyes. As this fluctuation appeared, the sea beneath Li Zongjio's feet disappeared, forming an island that directly supported Li Zongjio. A trace of shock appeared in the evil dragon god's eyes. Then, this shock turned into astonishment. His eyes were also filled with disbelief. The evil dragon god was just about to say something. Suddenly, the ground beneath his feet trembled slightly. Then, the evil dragon god looked down and saw countless eyes rapidly climbing toward his body. Impossible! This was an illusion created by the evil dragon god, but now, it was directly attacking him. This caused the evil dragon god to be extremely shocked. No matter how hard he struggled, even with the evil dragon eye in his hand, he couldn't block this power. Even the evil dragon's eye in his hand instantly turned around and stared at him with wide eyes. When the evil dragon god looked over, he was also shocked. The eye in his hand fell to the ground. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.